Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live and in living color here with you only on Grande's Graveyard. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we come full circle. Yes, all the way back in 2021 with my good friend John Steele. We started this journey. Of course, Tales from the Darkside seasons 1, 2, and 3 have been discussed, reviewed, and ranked on the tier maker list of fun to this point. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to complete the circle tonight. We review and rank season 4, the fourth and final season of one of my all-time favorite shows, Tales from the Darkside. And it wouldn't be Tales from the Darkside ranked and reviewed season 4 if I didn't hit you with the all-time great intro, music composed by the legendary Donnie Rubenstein, written by the AKA our maestro George A. Romero. Of course, man lives in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld. A place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we come full circle and discuss the fourth and final season, and may just be the goddamn best season that there ever was of Tales from the Darkside. Very excited to have you all in the house here tonight. We're kicking off Rocktober, Shocktober, October Blood, live in a living color. The leaves are changing outside. The weather's unfortunately still hotter than balls. But I'm very excited, and of course, we are going to have 5 shows here in this Rocktober month, 5 Thursdays, and absolutely zero regrets here tonight on Grande's Graveyard as we dive right in head first to one of my all-time favorite horror anthology shows, Tales from the Darkside, reviewed and ranked. And of course, we got a ton of Graveyardians in the house already. So you're here to kick off spooky season with me. Ciao, Grande and Graveyardian friends. Miss C is in the house. What's going on? Anthony Chabot. Hey, how you all doing? By the way, saw him. It was scary. Okay, so a fan of him. Interesting. Dr. Hogg is in the house. I'm sure he's got his Cooper Sharp cheesesteak in hand and a soda pop in the other. Well, no, I'm sorry. Probably Liquid Death. We're not going to say Will drink soda because I don't think I've ever even seen him drink soda. Well, welcome, Will. Hope all is well with you. Anthony says, yo, we got AJ's Happy Fun Time channel in the house. This is like when the Bears play Sunday and then Thursday night in the same week. Holy shit. Well, that would be something awesome. And your Bears are on a little bit of a winning streak, even though they're off like my Steelers. So where the hell are you at, Baby John? 2 minutes late, and I'm getting where the hell are you at? You imagine that? Baby Graveyard, where you be, sir? I'm sorry to keep you waiting the whole 2 minutes. I'm sorry. I know I'm a terrible human. Just terrible. Just write me up right now. There's my little Willy Bear. Oh, God. Ciao, Grande. Tell us some dark tales. Saw you were a guest of Alpha tomorrow. Cool. Hi to the whole graveyard. Yes, I was going to say that later in the show, but I guess, you know, it figures, right? We're talking about an anthology Romero produced and Rubenstein produced, etc. And we're going to see a lot of George Romero, you know, adjacent workers tonight, right? Patricia Tallman acts as the lead in one of the episodes. Tom Savini is the director of one of the episodes. We'll see Stephen King write one of the episodes. Of course, other horror legends such as Robert Bloch, such as Clive Barker, such as Edithe Swenson, Jules Selbo, some great writing talent. A lot of female writing talent in this season, and I thought that quite a few of them just gave some great scripts. I think this is arguably the most well-written season overall. So I'm excited to get into some of the writing here. That LBS logo scare. Oh my God, it is terrifying. And the end credits, you're right. The end credits is terrifying too. It's that is all. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight. It's so, oh my God, it's so good. AJ, my big, beautiful man. Well, that's not a better way to describe AJ Zitra. I don't know what it is. People saying hi. You just had an amazing cheesesteak and a nice Diet Coke. Okay, there you go. October baseball here. Mateo, congratulations to your Blue Jays. My saddle, Mets are in Aruba crying their sorrows away, probably spending their, I don't know, their $75 million a year. It's, oh God, it's terrible. Yeah, no, this is a really cool one. I was super excited. I don't know if it's still in print, but I'll have to look for you, unless you want to look right now on your phone. Just turn me, get out of here, Graham. I'm just going to see if I find the hat. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. I'm very excited, but I did need to mention the Alfa Romero thing. Tomorrow I'll be live in living color on Alfa Romero's channel, where we'll be ranking and discussing VHS covers. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're also apparently going to be reviewing the Night of the Living Dead 1990 remake, of course, on 4K, the 4K limited edition Steelbook. I did get that in the mail like a week or so ago. It was when I was sick, but I haven't got a chance to watch it. So I'll have to watch it for tomorrow night. I'll watch it maybe when I get home from work tomorrow, and Alpha and I will go over that, the differences in the uncut version versus the theatrical cut, and of course the new transfer, which we were all been waiting on for pins and needles. And it's cool. We're going to see some alumni there too. I always said that Night of the Living Dead 90 is like a feature-length version of Tales from the Darkside if it was Night of the Living Dead, because it's directed by Savini, starring Patricia Tallman, which you'll see in honestly the best episode of this entire season, in my opinion, when we get there. But yeah, no, really cool stuff that we're going to be discussing tomorrow night. And of course, tonight, we're getting it all into the dark side, my friends. So I'm very excited. Just shared on Instagram. Thank you so much. I sent you an Instagram request. Well, I'll accept it just after the show. Matt, 8 pictures, loving that hat, brother. Hey, man, I know you love Darkside like I love Darkside, so I'm happy to have you in the house. As we're going to kick it off, let's do it. We're 5 minutes in. I don't have anything to hold up. I drank my bottled water already. Cheers to a safe, happy, healthy weekend. And we're going to get this show on the road here, only on the Graveyard. Season 4. Before we get into the episode, Season 4 is an interesting one because, of course, Seasons 1 and 2 had 24 episodes a pop. And of course, Tales from the Darkside was aired on syndicated television, and they had a barter deal, and it's funny because there actually is an episode towards the end of the season, the second to last episode of the entire series, which coincidentally is called Barter. So yeah, they did a barter deal, and this was run on syndicated TVs, and not just like your main stations, but this was run on like local stations. And what the barter deal was if you could air Tales from the Darkside on a local station, the local stations could air like their previews and things like that for what was going on locally, their news stations and what have you. They could air their stuff for 5 minutes, where you'll get those national public commercials for the other 5-minute commercial breaks. So that's how they did their syndication. And of course, because of this, Tales from the Darkside became sort of that little show that could, right? It wasn't aired by a big time broadcast station. This wasn't a show that aired on CBS or ABC or anything like that. No, this was playing late night on these random, like whatever your local weird channel was. And it kind of garnered a big cult following. And despite not having a big promotion, despite not having all the marketing in the world and all the money behind it, right? This was a low budget show. The show did better in the ratings than some of the big primetime shows. The Twilight Zone reboot did not do as good in the ratings as a show like Tales from the Darkside. Steven Spielberg's amazing stories, which you'd think Spielberg's name, amazing stories. How could Tales from the Darkside, little old Tales from the Darkside, Laurel Productions, how could they compete? And they did it. It's incredible. They not only competed, they beat it quite a bit of the time. So this was a show that I like to think was the show for the real troll horror fans, right? The guys under the bridge that wanted to see something. And of course, this was supposed to be like Creepshow. And of course, Warner Brothers wouldn't give up the name, so they dropped the whole comic aesthetic, and Tales from the Darkside is born. And of course, over the course of the seasons 1 and 2, you have 24 episodes a pop, where they obviously, didn't have the most money in the world. Each season after that, they cut 2 episodes. So season 3 goes down to 22. Season 4 goes down to 20. And now this is, of course, the shortest season and arguably the best. I mean, overall, these 20 episodes, you got a lot of good stuff here, and I'm very excited to get into it here tonight. So very happy to have you all in the house. Basher, yes, Basher Malone. We'll get to Basher Malone. Hey, everyone, here with you guys for the first time in ages. James Abernathy, happy Rocktober, my friend, or NBC, exactly, / Fred, took the words out of my mouth. They used to air it on really, really late. Only way I could catch it on television was early Saturdays on a local channel. And that's kind of how it went. And of course, CBS now has the distribution rights, but unfortunately, due to copyright concerns, have to change a lot of the music. So if you have the DVD set like I do, a lot of the music in the episodes are changed due to copyright laws. So the only way to get some of the original music that was on these episodes when they aired on syndicated TV in the 1980s is if you get the VHSs. Now, I know there's not a VHS tape of their every episode out, but I believe they have 5 or 6 volumes where you can watch these episodes the way they originally sounded, which I think that's kind of cool. But unfortunately, it's something I've not been able to ever track down. But I agree with you. There's some kind of charm about it. I would watch this on the Chiller channel when I come home from school as a kid. It would play from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and I'd watch this before I'd do homework every day, and I just fell in love with the show. I was like, this is the show. Like, I absolutely adore this. So I don't know. It just was something I could never get enough of. WGN Channel 9 in Chicago, same channel that Bozo, G.I. Joe, and tons of 70s and 80s sitcoms reruns. Yeah, and that's where this show was most likely sent to die. And I don't mean it in a mean, derogatory way, but that's the truth. These are reruns, right? This is not something where we're going to be watching an everyday a show that's airing weekly. Yet this show garnered a lot of love, and they always kind of made sure they started their seasons around the time of the seasons, right? They would always open late September, early October, and that's why I always think with this show that the best time to talk about it is during spooky season, because there's usually a Halloween themed episode that goes with the seasons. And I don't know, man, I just think this show equals October. So that's a big reason why I've been doing this series over the past 4 Octobers. That's awesome. Absolutely. Got Trenchy in the house. Hey, what's up, Trench? Welcome, my friend. And I think it was Sci-Fi sometimes. Saw it on Chiller. Yes, it was. It was on both of those. You're absolutely right. But without further ado, I know you've been waiting 10 minutes or so. Let's get underway with the first episode of the season here. Season 4, episode number 1. Of course, this is Beatles. Yes, Beatles, which aired September the 27th of 1987. You see what I mean? Late September, early October. Archaeologist Arthur Hartley is accused of stealing expensive artifacts from a museum and is warned of a curse that befalls those who touch the artifacts but won't be stopped at the crest of wealth. Yes, Beatles. Now, this, of course, was written by Robert Bloch. And, of course, if you know Robert Bloch's name, he's the guy that did Psycho. He wrote the screenplay for Psycho and many others, and a great writer in his illustrious career, really, really good writing talent. And of course, there were 2 other stories that had been based off of stories that he had written, but this one he actually steps in to write. And I think that's a big reason why they wanted this to be the season 4 opener, right? Of course, from the writer of Psycho, here's the season 4 opener, just like a big statement episode. And honestly, there's nothing here that you haven't seen before. It's very much like a lower budget version of their Creeping Up on You, the segment from Creepshow, right, with E.G. Marshall and, of course, the bugs eating him alive from the inside. This is a similar story, but with Beatles, right? This guy, he's into, all these artifacts from Egyptian culture, and he kind of dabbles his fingers a little too far and sticks his nose into business that doesn't need to be stuck into. And then, of course, he starts becoming greedy and holier than thou. And because of his greed, because of his, dirty deeds and dirty ideas, he starts to get attacked by Beatles because some of the artifacts he takes were cursed by the Egyptian pharaohs of yesteryear. And of course, once he takes them, the Beatles come to haunt him alive. I like this. I mean, granted, it's not the highest budget show in the world, and this show's like this is one where it screamed for it needed a little bit of a budget, right? They're creeping up on you. You see all these giant cockroaches, and it's uncomfortable, right? Especially if you're not a bug person. Granted, I don't know too many people that are bug people, but cockroaches are terrifying. Beetles are right there too, and the Beatles are mostly practical in this episode. They're kind of crawling around. He's freaking out and things like that, and the episode kind of drives itself all the way to the end where the fear and the guilt and the Beatles ultimately are eating this guy alive. Good stuff. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's not one of my favorite episodes of the season. It's passable. It's good. Acting's good. The direction from Frank De Palma, not to be confused with Brian De Palma. Frank De Palma does an okay job. He's directed quite a few Darksides. This is like a middle-of-the-road one. I would say it's like a C tier Darkside, like right in the C tier. It's nothing great. It's not one of the best, but it's certainly one that I think is passable for an opener, and one that I was like, okay, like I understand why they opened with this one. It makes sense that with just Robert Bloch's name alone, you're going to open with something like this. It just made total sense. Robert Bloch also wrote the novel Psycho. Absolutely. And with his name, I know they wanted to probably jump on that right away. Bugs Attacking was always freaky. Yeah, no, it's an age-old tale of horror, right? And I like that they can use the bugs as a metaphor for what's really going on here, right? Of course, this is a guy that is a bug himself. That is someone that's crawling into business that doesn't belong to be crawled into. And of course, that has to reap what he has sown. And this is a major theme that you'll see throughout, not just Tales from the Dark Side, but Tales from the Crypt, right? Reaping what you sow. person A does something immoral, person B kills person A, and of course, person B could be anything. Person B could be a monster, it could be a ghoul, it could be a goblin, it could be a witch, a ghost, or a bug, right? And that's kind of what this story tells here. Kind of like the myth of King Tut, where a lot of people have died because of some curse. And this is not the only episode where you'll see a curse or a mummy involved, because there's a lot of fun episodes, and one of them does involve a mummy playing strip poker. I know it sounds crazy, but you'll love it. It's a classic trope. Yeah, it is. It is a classic trope. This is like your standard, most basic episode. Like, it's very basic. Like, if you want the most, I don't want to think too hard, like I just want to see some bug, like that, it's a very basic, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just every season of a television series needs an episode like this, just your basic one. But as we move on into season 4, episode number 2, I think you have the most single underrated episode of the entire series. And I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with this. A lot of people will throw their stones. I don't care. I really don't. I think this is one of the all-time best Darksides, would be in my top 10. Does have one of my all-time favorite performances in a Darkside show. And of course, this is season 4, episode 2 that debuted on October the 4th, 1987. This is Mary Mary. Yes, Mary Mary. Brief plot synopsis. A lonely single woman hides behind a mannequin. Yes, of course, directed by Katarina Wittich and Jules Selbo, starring Margaret Whitten, who, of course, you might remember Margaret Whitten from a little movie called Major League, which Major League came out right around this time. I think a year or two after this, 89, I want to say, was when Major League dropped in theaters. And she plays the corrupted boss that wants them to lose, right? The one that interacts with Charles Cyphers a lot, and the one that they're taking all the clothes off of her standee as they're reeling off winning the games. And she's a great actress. And may she rest in peace. I actually read during my show prep, unfortunately, she had passed away due to cancer. So may she rest in peace, because I think she was an underrated actress. And this episode is a prime example as to why I think she's a great actress. And not just her, it's an all-female team, right? You have a female director, female writer, female lead, and we're telling a story that I have said numerous times has been done to death, and there's no doubt about that, right? It's the story of feeling undesirable, the story of when a woman feels like she is no longer good enough, right? The person in the mirror is not that this great person that you strive to be, that you want to be. And I think that obviously this is something that's been done to death, and The Substance did it recently and turned a lot of heads, and a lot of people love The Substance. And that's all well and good if you did. I'm not there. I think something like Mary Mary is just so much better overall because of the psychology and what it had to say. I mean, I think it's just off the charts. It tells the story of this woman named Mary, who is a photographer in her everyday life. She comes home to a very stale apartment. She has all of these animals, but they're not real. They're all stuffed, but she talks to them, feeds them, all this stuff like they're real. She's kind of like a cat lady, but without cats, right? Crazy cat lady with no real cats. They're just stuffed, right? Dogs, parakeets, etc. And she is a part of this like videotape dating service where she's trying to fall in love and meet someone that'll take her out, right? I mean, she has these videotapes that she plays and watches, and she listens to these people discuss their life stories, and hey, if you wanted to go out sometime, would love to take you out. And when she sends her videotape replies back, she's too shy, afraid, and unconfident in herself in order to view herself on these videos. Instead, she takes a videotape of this mannequin, and she kind of swerves around the mannequin that is this pretty mannequin with blonde hair and a perfect face and beauty marks and makeup and the whole 9 yards. And she tries to sell the mannequin while speaking over like, don't you want to marry me? Don't you want to go out with me? Oh, I'm married. And she goes around and around in a circle trying to sell the mannequin to people, right? And sending out the tapes, and she's getting no bites. And this man moves across the street from her, and he tries to like call her on the phone, says, hey, I noticed you. I would love to go out sometime. I don't know anybody here. I'm new to the neighborhood. If you'd ever want to go on a date, like, let me know. And she stays away, doesn't talk with him, stays weary of him, because again, it's the turmoil that she feels within herself that she is not good enough to have a life like that she's not good enough to go out on a date like this. And it's really sad and crippling to watch this woman who is pretty, who does have things to offer, who is talented and attractive, look at herself like she's the ugly duckling. And that, I think, it's so well done here. It's so well written because it has so much to say, like I said, and it packs such a heavy punch to anyone who's ever felt like that. We all want to feel desirable. We all want others to think that we're good looking, that we're charming, that we're funny, that we're, have things to bring to the table. And some people, even if they do, it's their low self-esteem that doesn't allow them to give themselves a chance in order to have a life like that. And this is an episode that's telling that story, right? Mary doesn't feel this way. And as the episode plays on, we have the supernatural element of the mannequin talking to her, almost belittling her. Mary, he doesn't want to go out with you. He wants to date me. He doesn't even know what you look like. He thinks you're me. Mary, you want a date? It's so fucking creepy as this mannequin's talking to her like you're worthless. And Mary looks in the mirror and she's like, you're right. Like she's nodding like, yes, like you're absolutely right. I'm not worth it. I'm not. And Mary, towards the end of the episode, she has to take a stand. I am enough. I am good enough. And she decides, finally, I'm going to take a videotape of myself. Not this mannequin, not these games. No more kiddie games. I'm going to take a video of what I am, what I look like in the mirror every day. She's standing up for herself. She's prim. She's proper. And she starts to talk to the camera. Do another take. Do another take. Do another take. She keeps doing all these other takes, and each take gets progressively worse as she's trying to be self-confident, trying to show that she is this desirable. And it's her own self, unconfidence that unfortunately kind of berates her down to breaking into tears and saying, I can't do this. And we then cut to the neighbor. He kind of knocks on the door. He goes, hey, Mary, I figured I tried calling a couple times. You never answered, but I always see you in here kind of talking to your animals and your mannequins. And I think you're just so interesting. I'd love to take you out. And he's kind of looking around the apartment. And what he finds is Mary as a mannequin. Mary has now turned into a mannequin. And that's the whole twist. I know a lot of people don't really like the ending. I know a lot of people bash this episode as a whole. They say it's boring, dull, what have you. But I think it has so much to say again. Here's this woman that has now become the very thing that she was trying to sell, right? You masked yourself. You tried to sell yourself as if you were this inanimate object. And now you've become that very thing. And there is so much horror in that, because if you don't accept yourself, if you continuously berate and put yourself down, you will never have that life. You'll be just as lifeless as a mannequin. I thought that was great. Like you could shove the substance up your assholes. You can. Go ahead and do it right now. I don't give a shit. That to me is why I love this thing. That's why I love this genre. That's great writing. That's great direction, and it's a great performance from her. I mean, she does such a good job selling the pain and telling this emotional story with her face. I just don't get that in some other avenues, and here I do, and I think it's just so well done, man. To me, to convey that much hurt, pain, and horror, right? Because it is a type of horror, right? The horrors of undesirability. It may not be sexy, it may not be overt, it may not sound interesting to all of those, but to me, man, that's horror done perfect. That's why I love this thing, and I think this entire episode deserves nothing less than an S tier. It's my favorite fucking episode of this entire. All right, might not be my favorite of season, but it's up there and it's in my top 10 of the show. Like Mary to me is beautiful. I love Mary. I think that's just a great episode. I really do. Mary belongs at the S tier for me. Undoubtedly. I just think this is a great episode of TV. Let's see, where were we? Albert Cole checks in. Love Tales on the Dark Side, as do I, my friend. I love this show. And of course, a year after the series ended, HBO had premiered their iconic Tales from the Tales from the Crypt, which was just at the tail end of this. And of course, Darkside, once Darkside ends, I believe CBS acquired Laurel Productions in 1989, and Richard Rubenstein, that is, he still wanted to do a show, and they came together to do Monsters. So Monsters Monsters was like the brother show of Tales from the Dark Side, and that's what preceded it. Yeah, definitely really good stuff. That's fucking beautiful, dude. Yeah, it is. I think it's great. I really did. Like, I know a lot of people, they don't like this. It's one of the lower rated episodes. I read a few people's rankings this week. I always like to compare and contrast. I saw quite a few people have this as the worst episode of the season. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And all of them said the same thing. They were like, it doesn't make sense. She was a mannequin the whole time, like, question mark. I was like, no, that's not the point. She became a mannequin because of her own self-doubt. That's the horror there. She became the very thing that she wanted to be. And you don't get anything because of it. That's the whole irony. LOL. Yeah, no, totally, man. I appreciate that. That reminds me of Christian Slater in both the show and the movie later. And yes, Christian Slater, that's right. He's in The Case of the Stubborns in season 1. He's the kid. And then in 1990, they did the Tale from the Dark Side movie, which was directed by John Harrison, who did quite a few episodes. And we will be discussing some of his episodes here tonight. Hi, John and chat. Like this episode, except for the ending. I'm happy you liked the episode, even if you didn't like the ending, because so many people hate it. It gets ragged on a lot, and I don't really get why. I think it's just fucking great. Like, I don't know. I love this one. I think it's really, really underrated in my humble opinion. But that is Mary Mary. Highly recommended if you've never seen it. Of course, that was the one that kicked off October. Mary Mary will actually celebrate its anniversary this Saturday. It's the anniversary of the air date. Wow, it's got to be almost 40 years, 38 years or so. Yeah, 38 years. Crazy. So happy 38th almost to Mary Mary. As we move on to the next episode here, of course, season 4, episode number 3. I'm talking about the spirit photographer. A man invents a camera which makes ghosts disappear and use it in a room haunted by a violent spirit. Yeah, this one's one I honestly gloss over. I don't. Again, it's not bad, but there's really not much here. It's these two guys talking about this machine that can capture entities if you go to a haunted house. And of course, this guy, no, there's no way it's possible. And then they go, and of course, he does capture a ghost. He does envision a ghost. And by the end, there are twists and turns that someone may become a ghost. Like, it's okay. It's a little bit hokey. It's nothing great. It's one that I largely... Like, I watched it on Monday night. It's Thursday night. I've pretty much forgotten it by now because it's just very like whatever. I don't. This might be the most unenthusiastic review I'll do, especially following Mary Mary. I don't know. I don't like this one very much. I would say again, like, it's nothing horrible. It's nothing bad, but again, like C tier, nothing to run home about for me. Monsters made Tales from the Dark Side look like an expensive production, and it's true. You're absolutely right. Monsters look like it had much more of a budget. And that's another one that's in development hell, right? Because of the Richard Rubenstein connection. That's never been re-released on Blu-ray, which it would be nice if that one day does happen. And I do think it will. I do think we will live to see Monsters on Blu-ray. But right now, the DVD's out of print, and good luck if you want to spend a ton of money to buy that. Christian Slater was a big deal. Christian Slater was great. I always like Christian Slater. And yeah, I always thought it was cool that he's one of the only people that's in Darkside, the movie, and Darkside, the series. And speaking of one of those people, we move on to season 4, episode number 4. Yeah, season 4, episode 4, another one of my absolute favorites of the show. It aired October the 18th of 1987. I'm talking about the Moth. Yes, the Moth. Dying Sybil uses her last hours on Earth to curse her enemies and plan for the afterlife, much to the chagrin of her mother. Yes, and of course, this one stars Blondie herself, Deborah Harry. As I'll drag this little image up here. Deborah Harry, you see right there as this character in the Moth. Now, and Deborah Harry, of course, goes on to be in the Darkside movie, right? She's like the wraparound story character. And I've always loved her. I mean, I've loved her as Blondie. Of course, I love all that music. I think she's great. Heart of Glass. And just a tremendous talent. I always loved her in Videodrome. Long Live the New Flesh. This woman that gets too into it and digs a little too deep and doesn't like what she finds. Someone who's into sadomasochism, things like that. I mean, she's great. Deborah Harry's a great talent. She not only could sing, but she could really act. And of course, she was a beautiful fucking woman. There's no doubt about it. And I love her character here. And I think this is a great Darkside episode. Of course, it stars her as this woman who practices and dabbles in witchcraft and wizardry and reads from these spell books day in and day out. And she lives at home with her mother. And of course, one day she goes out and likes to make trouble. She's a troublemaker, first and foremost, right? More so than even someone that's an adulterer but she wants to cause trouble. She wants to wreak havoc, if you will. And she steps into the life of this married couple and, of course, gives this potion to the husband. And he sort of has a thing with her. And then, of course, you know, the wife hears about this and stabs Deborah Harry in the stomach. Deborah Harry kind of rushes home and gets to the couch and the bed. And she says, Mama, I'm going to die. Mama, I'm going to bleed out. Mama, I'll be dead by dawn. And the mother's like, what did you do? What did you do? And she tells her what she did and the whole 9 yards. And she says, listen, I'm going to not be on this earth by dawn. I'll be gone from this earth. And she's like, okay, like, I understand, you know, you did some horrible things. You dabbled in this book. You shouldn't have been doing it. And of course, while she's laying there on the bed, she says, Mama, I need you to make me a promise. I need you to cover my mouth with a cloth, and I need you to put a little bit of a jar over my mouth, because my you know, I may be dying tonight, but I'm not leaving this world. And that's what she says to her. And basically, Deborah Harry does die. She bleeds out, but the mother does listen to her and puts the cloth on her mouth and the jar over her face. And all of a sudden, this moth kind of pops out into the jar, and the mother kind of seals it. And she sees that, oh my God, you know, this is where her soul is being transferred. Her soul is in the moth. And then, of course, the mom has to, oh my God, it has to go back in. So the mother is at this kind of crossroads of, do I help my daughter out who's doing all these horrible, immoral things, right? Do I help her? You know, and then you have the other side of the coin of, that's my kid, right? I know she's done terrible things. I know she's an adulterer. I know she dabbles in black magic. I know she's a bad egg, but that's my bad egg. It's my possession. So it's my kid. What do I do? And that's the whole, you know, kind of conflict between the mother character in this episode, right? Do I help my immoral kid because she's my kid, right? It's the whole, you know, weighing of the options that she does here. And we watch as Deborah Harry's character, she's lying in the bed and the mom's trying to crack open the jar, can't get it. And eventually what happens is Deborah Harry wakes up, right? The body wakes up looking for the moth, looking for the soul, like a zombie in the night. And I love how it happens. And she's trying to convince Deborah Harry that she's dead. Oh, you're dead. She puts all this stuff on her to make her think that she's 6 feet under, that makes her think she's under the ground, and she's clawing at the walls and things like this. And I don't know, it's just so creepy, and I love the talent involved. The lady playing the mom, Jane Manning, does such a good job here is kind of this conflicted person that knows it's wrong to help the daughter. So thus she's trying to, you know, let sleeping corpses lie, for lack of a better term. Shout out to that great movie. Has nothing to do with this, but it's a great movie and it kind of applies to the term. I think you have a really, really good episode here where the acting talent involved is just tremendous. Again, Deborah Harry is so good in this. And it has a fun twist ending where, of course, the mother thinks she's tricked her daughter, but the daughter's really tricked the mother. And I'll leave it at that. But I don't know. I like The Moth a lot. I think it's a great, great Rocktober watch. Just two good actresses, two pros going at it mano a mano, and the whole idea of the moth being the soul. And I don't know, it's just, there's something about it I always really liked. I always thought this was just a really, really good Darkside. One of my faves. It's close to an S. It really is. Oh man, it's really fucking close. Yeah, honestly, it is. It's an S. I love The Moth. The Moth is great. I think The Moth is right up there with some of the best Tales from the Darkside episodes. It's borderline. I could be talked into an A, but at the same time, I think this is just really, really, really good one, man. Let's see. Have you seen the movie As Fixed? Similar story to Spirit Photographer, but better. I have not, and I'm sure it is better because, yeah, Spirit Photographer left a little bit to be desired. Deborah Harry also sing the song Liar Liar, which was from the movie Married to the Mob. Hey Undead. This one freaked me out so much as a kid. The ending stuck in my head for years. Exactly right. They're the old switcheroo. You tricked me, mama! And not really. One of my favorites. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's a great fucking Darkside. Like, this is definitely one I always go back to watch every October season. It's just another fucking banger. And speaking of the Rocktober season, speaking of other bangers, we have arguably, it's in the top 3 of the season for sure. The next episode here, of course, which was the Halloween, if you will, episode. It did air on October the 25th of 1987. I'm talking about this little joint right here. I'm talking about No Strings. Yes, No Strings. Brief plot synopsis. Mobster Eddie Minnelli plans a private performance by the famous puppeteer, but with a ghoulish new puppet, the bloody remains of Don Pauly, the man Eddie has just murdered. Now, this one is interesting because it stars TJ Castronova, and I know there's probably some people that go, who the fuck is that? TJ Castronova was a producer on basically every episode of this entire series, and he did direct a few episodes. I mean, how many series do you have where the producer steps in line to play the lead character? That's so rare. And what's even crazier is that it's directed by David Odell, and I'm sure there are probably people that don't know who David Odell is. David Odell was a writer for The Muppet Show. And David Odell won Emmys for his writing on The Muppet Show. He dealt his entire life, worked hand in hand with Jim Henson. And of course, he gets the opportunity to make a Tales from the Darkside episode. What else are you going to do but make it about puppets? But we've got to make it morbid, right? We can't be writing Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and Gonzo and Fozzie the fucking Bear, Waka Waka into it. No, we've got mobsters playing with puppets in this crazy sadistic puppet show from hell. And I loved every single solitary second of it. Of course, TJ Castronova plays the lead, who is this guy, Eddie Minnelli. He's a very scuzzy guy, very much like a Soprano or Lupertazzi or something like that from The Sopranos. Just a very quintessential gangster guy. He's got his blonde trophy girlfriend and his stooge, if you will, and they pull this puppeteer out of bed at night at gunpoint and say, listen, we need you to come to the Lyceum Theater, which, fun fact, I've been to the Lyceum Theater. That's a New York. Anyone from New York City knows that that's apparently our haunted theater. Any fellow New Yorker will know that. And that's a big, big theater in NYC. At least it used to be. Not in 1987, it was bigger than it is now. Unfortunately, now it's fucking actually probably haunted. I don't know. But, they drag him out of bed to the Lyceum Theater at gunpoint and they say, listen, you need to put on this show. You need to perform this show. And it starts small, right? It starts small with a regular puppet, right? This clown with the orange hair and the red nose and the big red shoes. And won't you play with me? I'll do anything you want me to. It starts off with just a regular puppet. But the twist is the morbid side of Tales from the Dark Side, season 4, episode number 5 here, No Strings, is that the mobster who has just killed his arch rival wants to make his arch rival a puppet. After shooting it, after blowing his head off, right? He's got bullet holes all in his face. They tie him up with metal hooks and put him on stage, and they tell the puppeteer, make him dance. I want to make him dance, and I want to make him apologize and admit that he was wrong about all this stuff. So they get a script for this guy and tell him to read the script at gunpoint. He's like, I can't do this. And they're like, read it, read the fucking script. And the guy's like, I don't know. And of course he has to put on this entire puppet show using a corpse. And it's the whole thing. You're just like, oh my God, this is insanity. Like, who the fuck thought this? And of course, it's David Odell who fucking won Emmys for the Muppets. Like, that is the coolest thing ever. I'd love to know if Jim Henson saw this. Like, give anything to know if Jim Henson watched this shit, man, because it's amazing. And of course, as this sadistic puppet show plays out, we get another, supernatural intervention where the soul of the man that they have killed comes back and possesses not only the dummy, of course, that tells him off, but eventually his own dead body. And I love this. I love how emotional it is, right? You have some great scenes where the puppeteer is going on about the art of puppetry, and he says, do you know what it takes to make a block of wood come to life, and you're going to hold me at gunpoint and make a mockery out of what I've done for a living, what I love to do, how I love to see the smile and joy on people's laughter and faces, and you want to make it this sick, sadistic puppet show because you're a guy that's this big. I mean, how could you do this to me? And the fucking mobster's like, you can sing me all those tales that you want to say. Like, I don't care. Like, I killed this guy. This is something I've been waiting a long time to do, and you ain't ruining my night, buddy. So he bribes the guy, holds him at gunpoint, the whole 9 yards, until the finale happens where this mobster guy comes back, his soul, and he, possesses the doll and starts talking to him, and he goes, oh, your little girlfriend, she was mine. She had to convince me not to kill you. And he's like, oh, and I don't think she's too loyal. And you see that she's been fucking the stooge. I love that. I mean, I thought that was great too. Like, and it starts a gun war, and then, oh man, you had me going there for a second, Mr. Puppeteer. And he's like, I didn't do shit. And all of a sudden the fucking corpse comes alive, and they both kind of hang there as the episode ends. Fantastic. Darkside 101, right? You reap what you sow. And of course, the fucking puppeteer part of it, so good, right? And the final shot of both of them hanging on the puppet strings like the marionettes they are. Great stuff. For me, one of the best Darksides. Again, another S-tier episode. Like, I don't think there's any hesitation here. This is one of the best, arguably the best of the season. It's between No Strings, Mary Mary, and one more. We'll get to that one more, way more down the road. But of course, that's season 4, episode number 5. And let's see what you all have to say in the chat. I think we have. Let's see. I think we're here. All-time favorite episode, though, is The Circus. Love The Circus. That was the season 3 opener, written by Romero, directed by Gornick. Really great stuff. I love that episode too. I did review, if you guys are interested. After tonight, I'll have reviewed every single episode of Tales from the Darkside. So there is a playlist if you want to see my thoughts on any of the other episodes in particular. I did review season 3 last October, and The Circus is one that I raved about. Favorite Dreamland Theater. Speaking of someone whose favorite episode is The Circus, I know this guy's favorite is The Circus, and he did an awesome, I think, top 13, or top 10. Well, it might have been top 10. Was Anthony did a great top 10 list on Tales from the Darkside. Had a lot in common with I. Man lives in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. Awesome, man. Dude, Anthony, hope all's well with you. Weekend at Bernie's 2, the mobster puppet. Yeah, I guess so. All right. All they were missing was, what's his name? Kaiser? What? Oh, my God. I can't think of his damn name. The actor from Jason it's the New Blood. He's in that too. Terry Kaiser, I think his name is. LMAO. Yeah, that would have been amazing. I would have loved Weekend at Bernie's too, with the mobster puppet show in there. I don't know. One I always really liked. I think No Strings is great. That's one that I definitely know made an impression when I first watched the show. Like, it was one of the first ones I saw and was like, that show, like, I'll be watching that from now on. That was one of those episodes for me. And another one, this is one that doesn't get enough love, and you'll see this as a common theme in this season too. While this may be my favorite season, I think when it's horror done right. You have a lot of comedy horror episodes in this season as well. And sometimes they don't work, there's no doubt. But man, when this show did comedy and horror, it somehow always managed, at least most of the time, managed to mix it perfectly. And this next episode's a prime example of that. Of course, season 4, episode number 6, that debuted November the 1st of 1987. I'm talking about The Grave Robber. Yes, The Grave Robber. Brief plot synopsis. 2 archaeologists turned grave robbers are forced to play strip poker with an angry mummy that protects the tomb they broke into. Oh my God. You want to laugh your fucking ass off? This is the episode to do so. The Grave Robber is some of the funniest shit you'll ever see. These 2 sleazeballs, bribe this Egyptian archaeologist guy to kind of walk them to a tomb that they plan on dynamite and blowing up. They get to the edge of it, and of course, the thing just happens to open on its own. And they're like, oh, great, this is a miracle. This is magical. Let's get in this tomb and let's start robbing it, right? They want to get these amulets and things like that. And, of course, they go in there and they find the tomb of the mummy. And they open the tomb, and, of course, the mummy comes to life. It kills Ahmed, the poor, guy that was bribed into doing this, right? Granted, I don't know, poor guy, but, whatever. He gets killed by the mummy. And then they go try to escape, and the tomb closes. And then they're face to face with this mummy. And what I thought was so funny about this episode is the mummy, you would think, oh, like the typical whatever you'd think a mummy would be. No, they give this mummy a Jewish New York accent. I'm not kidding you. That's how the mummy sounds. It's played by Arnold Stang, who is a really fun character actor. He is hysterical in this episode as this mummy, who is just, I was cracking up laughing. Who goes there? And then, of course, when, they're trying to plea for please let us go. What do we have to do? What do we have to do? What if we played a game and if we win, you get to, let us go. And if we lose, you get to kill us. And he's like, all right, that's fair. What do you want to play? And she pulls out a deck. She goes, cards? He goes, tarot cards? And she's like, no, poker. And they sit down to play 5-card stud. And dude, it is some of the funniest shit ever as they're sitting there and they're at first lying to him and cheating and saying, oh, you don't want to keep those aces. You want to fold those and pick up more cards. They're lying to him about all this stuff. And the mummy's like, oh, okay. And then, of course, the mummy's at one point like, are you guys trying to pull a fast one on me as his bandages are unwinding? And, he's slowly decaying in front of them and they're like ready to get sick and stuff. Their idea is, oh my God, if we take all the bandages off, he'll fall apart. And, you know, as it's getting more and more and more, he just decides, you know what, let me try to figure out how to actually play. He kind of goes into a trance and learns how to play cards. And he goes, okay, ultimatum. You beat me in one more hand, I let you go. And they're like, okay, let's do it. One hand of a 5-card stud. How could this go wrong? And the mummy just continuously keeps winning and winning and winning. And the guy is stripping and stripping and stripping until the point where he's like, I'm freezing. He's like, you want to try the bandages? I took off plenty of bandages. And I don't know, there's just something about it that's just so funny. These two guys, this guy losing his mind trying to win a hand of poker, and the mummy just not selling it at all, and the mummy being like, your confidence is very, very daunting. I hope you have it, you know. And I've got a pair of trays with an ace high kicker. I'm fucking cracking up laughing at this. I thought this was so funny. And it ultimately comes down to the final hand where our you know guy, he has a king high royal flush, which is king to the 9, all hearts, and he's like, beat that, mummy boy. And the mummy goes, oh, I don't know, I'm so nervous. I have a 10, a jack, a queen, a king, an ace, and they're all diamonds. Oh, I have a straight royal flush. Looks like you're done. And he beats him in the hand, and it's so funny. The guy just loses his mind, starts screaming. And then there's a throwaway line where the mummy admits he was dealing from the bottom of the deck, and now our guy was playing against him. He has to take place of the mummy for eternity, and the mummy leaves with the woman, and they just leave the fucking... It's silly, preposterous, stupid, but hysterical. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was really funny, like a really fun tongue-in-cheek, like, who would I could just see Rod Serling trying to pitch this. Like, what about, we've heard about poker, but what about strip poker with a mummy? It's like puff of a cigarette. Like, I mean, that would be so awesome. And I don't know, I thought this was so clever. Like, I thought it was smart to make the mummy, again, the Jewish New York accent. This is, you just never expect that. But he was so funny, man. Arnold Stang was hysterical in this. And I know you talk a big game, your mumminess, but you have plenty of chances to kill us, but you haven't. I mean, I don't know. I love this one. To me, really, really silly, but very, very fun. I don't know. I like this one a lot. Talk about dead hand poker for real, dead man's hand. Yeah, it's a funny one. I haven't seen this one, but it sounds like, oh, you would love it. So like I know your humor, Bradley, and you would love this, man. I think you'd love it. Man, this plot sounds ridiculous. Wouldn't it take just one winning hand to strip it? Or no? It's one bandage at a time, and then it's one accessory, right? His shirt, then his hat, then his glasses, you know. Until the guy is like basically like naked. And then there's also a throwaway line where he goes, oh, you know, a mummy's power comes from his bandages. You really should have put them on. And apparently the mummy bandages makes you like stronger than the Incredible Hulk. And if he had known that the whole time, he could have just smacked through the wall. Like, there's a lot of like fun lines that are thrown in there to go, oh my God, if this guy had just known, right? And the mummy was dealing from the bottom of the deck to fuck him over. Just silly, but funny. And of course, Arnold Stang was known playing his iconic Hanna-Barbera character, Top Cat. Absolutely. Yeah. Great distinguished voice. And he did a great job in this episode. I don't know. It's nothing S tier. It's like not like all time great, but it's very fucking funny and entertaining. I'd go A. The Grave Robber is funny as hell. I think the Grave Robber is definitely one that people should see. It's just, I don't know, it has a good sense of humor. I'm not one to go crazy for horror comedy all the time, but I thought it was a good balance. Like the setting, the setup, it's just so ridiculous that I can't help but laugh at it. I think it was well done. Which brings us to season 4, episode number 7, which debuted, of course, November the 8th of 1987. I'm talking about the Yattering and Jack. Happy-go-lucky salesman Jack Polo receives a Yuletide visit from the 3.5-foot-tall Yattering, a snarling horned demon that wants to claim Jack's soul. This was, of course, also directed by David Odell. No puppets this time, but we do have a little person, of course, who's none other than Phil Fondacaro, who you might remember, horror fans might remember him from Land of the Dead. He's the little guy that gets shot, and he's been in a ton of things. He's literally like probably over 200 titles. The shocking thing is that this was written by Clive Barker. This was one of the Tales in the Books of Blood volumes, and it was adapted by Clive Barker for this show. He wrote the teleplay here. And of course, David Odell, right, who had just done No Strings, he steps into the director's chair to make this. And this is your Christmas episode of the season. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Clive. I love Clive Barker. Clive Barker is like one of my favorite horror minds that there's ever been. I always thought he was just so intelligent, and I love that he would always tackle themes that people were otherwise scared to discuss, right? The horrors of sexuality, the horrors of sadomasochism, the horrors of, sexual orientation within oneself. He's somebody that always had something innovative to say. Like you could not like Clive Barker, you could like Clive Barker, but you can't say that the guy wasn't completely original and didn't have anything to bring to the table. And like that to me is why I love Clive. Which is why this is an odd story for Clive, because it's much more tongue in cheek. It's much more comedy horror as opposed to horror comedy. Now, on the surface, right, it's about collecting a soul. It's this Yattering that has been sent to this man's house who's named Jack, right? Hence the Yattering and Jack. Comes to his house on Christmas time. And of course, he's trying to drive Jack crazy. So he will give in, and of course he can collect his soul. And that's the whole idea of the episode. And we do see the devil make an appearance talking to the Yattering. You must collect his soul, as he stands in the corner with the red background and the red, all the devil tropes, if you will, which I thought that was kind of funny. And of course, the entire episode plays out as this Yattering is trying to drive Jack crazy by any means necessary. And Jack's daughter is there to try to prevent this from happening, right? She's trying to talk him off the ledge and into the light. It's fine, but like to me, it should be way better. I don't know if they maybe should have got Clive himself to direct it. I know Clive has been a big critic of saying that stuff that is his work and wasn't directed by him in the early days was the stuff that just really went to shit. Like, I know he hated Rawhead Rex. I know that was a big, he was like, what a fucking disgrace. I should never have let them do that. And of course, they wanted somebody else to do Hellraiser. And he said, no way, I won't sell you the fucking script if I'm not the director too. So this was right around the time. I mean, 1987 is the same year Hellraiser came out. So the same year Hellraiser comes out, this episode airs. And it, granted, again, you have your discussions of angels and devils and souls and things like that. You can tell it's Clive's mind, but the tone of it is totally un-Clive. It's totally something you wouldn't expect from him. And I don't know, some people might really like that about it. To me, more middle of the road. More, it's good, not great. It's fine, it's passable. It's just, when I think Clive Barker, I'm more like, what could we have gotten, right? Could we have gotten an S-tier episode, right? It's fine, it's a single. But for Clive Barker, man, you want that home run. That's kind of where I'm at here. It's good. It's fine. It's passable. I'm going to come in. This is a tough one to rank. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with it. It's well directed. I would say a B minus. It's in that ballpark. The Yattering and Jack's like a B minus. It's nothing great, but it's nothing terrible either. It's definitely, I don't know. It's a tough one to rate. It's definitely a tough one to rate for sure, but definitely worth your time. Phil Fondacaro is great as Dracula in The Creeps by Full Moon. Yes, Phil is great. I love all the New York accents throughout the show. I think production was split between Cali and New York. You're absolutely right. New York, the shoots place in Long Island. So you're exactly right. That they did. It was a split production, right? Everyone remembers the intro, which was shot in Pittsburgh. All that, like the bridge and the opening shots of the water and the woods and all that stuff. That's all Pittsburgh. That's all Pittsburgh, PA. But the show itself, a lot of it's New York, a lot of it's Cali, and you can clearly tell, right? Especially I can when it's New York, right? Or we can, right? Because we're both New York guys. You could clearly tell when this show is New York, right? And you can clearly tell when it's Cali. And this is one of those episodes where, Clive Barker, holy shit, it's so cool that you got his name on the show and got him to participate. I just kind of wish maybe they had him directed, because I do think it would have been far less goofy, even though I do know it's a overall goofier story. But I do sort of wish Clive might have stepped into the director's chair. I wonder if we would have got something a little bit more quality. Phil Fondacaro had also played Roland the Troll on the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yeah, he's been everywhere. He's a total seasoned actor, and it's cool to see him show up on a Tales from the Darkside episode. It was very, very cool to see. But let's move on, of course, into the next episode here, which is, of course, season 4, episode number 8. This aired on November the 15th, 1987. I'm talking about Seymour Lama. Yes, Seymour Lama. On a bitter cold night, Henry and Ellen Strand's home is visited by exotic Himalayan strangers who claim that son Seymour Strand has been chosen to replace the recently deceased Lama of their faraway country, Lupu. Yes. Holy shit. Now, I know what probably most people are thinking, that this is not an episode that would age the greatest, but I mean, and it doesn't. This is okay. This is not a good episode by any fucking stretch of the imagination, but it is wildly fucking crazy to the point where you can't help but chuckle at times. The episode stars Divine, who, of course, the longtime John Waters collaborator. We all remember Divine from Pink Flamingos and Hairspray and all these John Waters joints. And Divine may of course, they rest in peace. Always really liked Divine. And of course, also in this episode is David Gale. And David Gale was in Reanimator. He's the lead doctor in Reanimator, who, of course, I suggest you bring a pen, Mr. West. That guy, the guy that famously said after the shoot of Reanimator ended, Stuart Gordon, you helped reanimate me. This is a movie that helped reanimate me. I was down in life, and Reanimator helped reanimate me. I always love. That's one of my favorite quotes from any behind the scenes stories, is that tale. And you do get him in this, of course, after Reanimator. So he is reanimated here, Mr. David Gale, and fully walking. He's not just a decapitated head. But we get the story of this bickering family. The father does not love his son. He's very hard on him. He's very, my son's a prim and proper, wussy boy, and is not nice to his kid, basically. And of course, what happens is his son is picked by this, of course, group of Himalayans that the lead is of course, is Divine. And of course, the lady with him is Kathy Lipinski. They kind of knock at the door one night and say, your son Seymour has been chosen as the next Dalai Lama. We will call him Seymour Lama. And they're just, praying to every command that he has, right? Like, rub my back, come upstairs with me with this hot lady. They go upstairs. And Divine's the best thing in the episode. He is fucking hysterical in this. The way he takes it so seriously, like this is life or death. We need this fucking guy, right? That we need him to be our Dalai Lama. I don't know. I thought it was funny as hell. I thought Divine was so good in this, so funny and just refreshing. David Gale's like, this is an outrage. My son is not worthy of this, and all this fighting, all this argument, and it's a whole kind of comedy episode that doesn't really go anywhere, just a bunch of people talking in a living room, really, until you get to the finale where of course, Divine wants to make a call back to home to let them know that Seymour Lama is coming with them, and they found their next Lama. And of course, they figure out that they went to the wrong house. Oh my God, we had the wrong address. So they abruptly leave, and he's not the Seymour Lama that he thought he was. And of course, you see this kid kind of be let down. It's silly. It's really, really silly. Divine is the only thing that saved this episode for me. I thought Divine was fucking hysterical here. And just like I said, the way he took it so seriously, made it funny. He was just so really reading the shit like it was real. I don't know. I thought it was quite funny. Seymour Lama, like a D. It's not very good. It's one of those where when you end it, it's like, what the fuck did I just watch? What the fuck was that? And I see we have a fan of it. Albert Cole says, I remember this one. It was hilarious. It is funny. It's definitely, you're just like, what? I remember when I first saw this, I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. This is crazy, but funny. In a way, it's funny. Granted, I know there are things in this episode that have not aged well to nowadays. I'll just say that. I know some people will hate this episode just for certain things that, if you've seen John Divine in the episode, you know what I mean. But it is what it is. I don't know. I like this. I give it a pass, but it's not very good. Next episode here, of course, season 4, episode number 9, debuted November the 22nd, 1987. Sorry, right number. A woman is troubled by a mysterious phone call and tries desperately to help the other person on the end of the line. Yes, directed by John Harrison, written by Stephen King, not to be confused with, of course, Richard Bachman, who he was writing under the alias of around this time. This was a Stephen King joint, right? The first time since season 1's The Word Processor of the Gods. He wrote that episode as well. And Stephen King steps into the writer's chair here, and none other than John Harrison steps in to direct it. Of course, John Harrison, who I've always been a big fan of, would go on to direct the Tales from the Darkside movie, would go on to direct Clive Barker's Book of Blood. So very funny that John Harrison was going to do so many anthologies. Of course, he worked on the new Creepshow series, wrote and directed stories for that. He steps in as just a director here, and we watch as this woman is on a telephone call, and all of a sudden she gets another call from a frantic woman, and the entire episode kind of plays where she's trying to figure out who was trying to call her, what was the frantic message, what was going on. It's a big mystery of who was on the other line, right? She talks about it with her husband. Who could it have been? There's this back and forth discussion about it, and we watch as she's trying to figure out, right? They go to one person's house trying to figure out, they ask this person, that person. They're trying to figure out and kind of check off the usual suspects of who it might be. Now, a fun thing throughout this episode, if you're a Dawn of the Dead fan, right, the all-time greatest horror movie, all-time favorite movie that there is, you'll notice that there are several scenes where Dawn of the Dead is playing on the television, like they'll be watching Dawn of the Dead on TV. And what other part would it be than the screwdriver zombie scene, right? With Scott Reiniger stabbing the screwdriver zombie in the ear with the screwdriver. And who else other than the screwdriver zombie? John Harrison. John Harrison is the screwdriver zombie, and he, of course, directs this. So I would love to think that John Harrison made that call. Well, if we're going to show Dawn of the Dead, we're going to show my fucking scene in Dawn of the Dead. So that puts that on there. I thought that was kind of funny. And, of course, because Richard was the executive producer of the show, Richard owns Dawn of the Dead. You could show Dawn of the Dead all you want on a Tales from the Darkside. So they did on the television. I thought that was kind of fun. I was like, holy shit, like that is a pretty clever way to integrate Dawn of the Dead into your episode. And it's throughout a few times in the episode. And it's always the screwdriver zombie, which I thought was funny, by the director. We watch this woman as she is trying to figure it out. And of course, what happens towards the middle of the episode is her husband tragically dies. He does not wake up. He has this heart attack, and she's horribly grief-stricken by this and sad. And of course, the episode fast forwards to a few years down the road where one day she's on the phone and they're talking about the father passing away and all this stuff. And she finally puts the pieces together that the whole twist being is she in the future was trying to make a call to her past self to tell her to get her husband to the hospital because he was going to die of a heart attack soon. And that was the big mysterious call. Was this woman was, of course, trying to call herself from the future and then call her and be like, get him to a hospital, get him to a hospital. And of course it doesn't work. Like she doesn't, what? I didn't hear you. And the whole, oh, what the fuck? It plays out like on a loop. I thought that was really clever. Stephen King did a really good job writing that. I don't think it's an all-time great Darkside. I know there's some people that'll say this is the best of the season. It's one of the highest rated episodes of the entire show. I don't know about that. Like it's good. I think the acting in it's good. The melodramatic aspects of it are very good. The lead actress does a very good job. I want to get her name here. Deborah Harmon. You've definitely seen her in other things too. She's fine here. I don't know if there's anything intrinsically wrong. It's just an episode that it's okay. It's not one of my favorites. It's okay. It gets a pass. It gets a B, I would say, like somewhere in the B. It's just above average for me. Like I would say Sorry Right Number is going to be in the B tier. Like it's solid. It's good. Stephen King, you're not always going to go terribly wrong, and he's a great writer. And this is definitely one with a solid enough ending. So I like Sorry Right Number for sure. The title is obviously a parody of what people used to say when the wrong person would call when they were reaching someone else. Sorry, wrong number. Exactly. I liked this one. It all comes down to the twist. If you see the twist coming, it holds it back a little, but at least there's no way to. Oh, totally. I think for me, upon rewatching it a few times, when you know the twist, I don't think it works as well. It's not one of those ones where I'm like, I want to rewatch it again and just be like, oh, like that awe moment. It doesn't, other than the first time, it doesn't really hit the same. I can't explain it. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not one of my faves. King wrote the script, but it never appeared in print until the Nightmares and Dreamscapes collection. I like this episode better than Yattering. Yeah, I would say it was better than Yattering too, for sure. It's definitely, from somebody like Stephen King, it's cool that he came back. I would say of the two King episodes, Word Processor of the Gods is way better than this. That's the one with, it's the guy from Willard. I can't think of his name. Bruce Davison. He is this guy who owns a word processor, and anything he puts in it comes true. So he says, oh, I hate my nagging wife, wish she'd go away. Types into the word processor, hits enter, and it's like she never existed. I love that one from season 1. That's the better King episode of the two he wrote for this show. This is still good, though. It's definitely good. I know some people say it's one of the best. I'm not in that ballpark, but it's certainly a passable, solid episode. It's nothing bad. It's definitely worth a watch. And some people herald it as one of the best. Here's one that I think is worth more praise and more discussion. An episode that not enough people talk about. It aired. This was, of course, when Darkside had its big layoff, right? That was the last episode debuted in November of '87. This next episode doesn't air till February of '98. It debuted on Valentine's Day of 1988. This is season 4, episode number 10. Payment overdue. A callous collection agent discovers that she herself has an overdue payment involving Rita Valdez, a client who took drastic steps to end her financial woes. Yes. Wow. This one stars Maura Swanson as this woman who is a debt collector. And she is a work from home body. She is very energetic, very uppy, very just game for everything, right? She's very, very on the ball. She calls these people on, a daily basis and lets them know that they have debt. And it's certainly not a job I don't think you'd want to have, right? At least I wouldn't want to have that type of job. That can't be fun to call people and say, hey, you owe us money. It's arguably, not going to go too well from there, no matter what the conversation proceeds in. And this woman, though, the whole twist on it is that she rebels in the job. She loves the job and she berates people. She tells them, I know that you must be really busy, but you really need to be paying this, or otherwise we're going to evict you from your home. And she says it in a way of like she's getting enjoyment and pleasure out of, putting stress and worrisome on people and things like that. And listen, there's an old saying, treat others how you want to be treated, right? And this is a prime example of the horrors of that when a person isn't doing something like that, right? I understand there are some cheap people out there. They don't want to pay their bills, and that's horrible. But listen, they still send them. Bills still come in the mail, and you got to pay your bills. That's an absolute must in life. But you don't have to pour gasoline on the fire by saying, if you don't pay your bills, we're going to take your home away. Or if you don't pay your bills, I hope you rot on the streets. And all these things that she says throughout the episode to these people that belittles them and talks down to them. And there's another saying too, you never know what's going on in someone's life when you call them and talk to them. You don't know. Everyone has stories behind closed doors. Everyone has their own individual lives that they're dealing with problems and whatnot. Be nice to fucking people. Don't listen, hey, if they owe their debt and it's your job to tell them, that's one thing. But to gloat about it, to sing, a song about it and worry people, that's another thing. There's no reason to go there about it. And this woman does. She takes a pleasure in dealing out bad news. And of course, one day she gets a call on the phone from this creepy voice, this creepy woman voice saying, I'll get you someday. I hope you understand the misery you've caused me and all the heartache you've caused me. And she calls her on the phone. And she's like, what the fuck? And she checks the caller ID, and it's from this woman named Rita Valdez. And she looks up the customer, and the customer is deceased. So she's like, what the fuck? Did this lady call me from beyond the grave? Like, what's going on here? And eventually what we find is this man who knocks on her door and kind of aids her as this kind of, okay, everything's okay as long as you're here, right? She tries to grease this guy over and, hey, you can stay over, please. I just feel safe. I'm nervous. I'm worried. Like, why am I getting calls from beyond the grave from this woman? Like, what did I do? And the whole twist of the episode I thought was fantastic here. As again, another classic reap what you've sown story. We find out that the woman calling her on the phone, Rita Valdez, was a woman that was dealing with a sick husband that was on his deathbed, that had a payment that was overdue, and of course was called and berated by this woman and said, what else could be so important in your life that you can't pay your little bill here? And we'll come and get you. We'll come and find you. We'll come evict you, and all this stuff. And the stress, of course, ultimately causes Miss Valdez to kill herself. She takes her own life, and of course it's at the words and the push, if you will, by this debt collector that kind of pulled the trigger, right? You didn't pull the trigger, but you pulled the trigger at the same time, right? It's that type of story. The age old. I talked to this woman so poorly without knowing what her situation was. Why were you not paying your bill? Oh, your husband was dying on his deathbed. I understand that bills might be a second priority, right? It's one of those things where it lands the plane. And I loved the ultimate finale where she's sitting at her desk and this guy, he goes, I want you to see how it feels. And he's kind of putting these clothes on her, and all of a sudden she morphs into Valdez, and she's sitting at the desk, and the debt collector calls her, and now she has to get the other side of the coin. Here's a taste of your own medicine. Treat others how you want to be treated. Treat people nicely, because you never know what is going on in their lives. I don't know. I thought that was really good. I thought it was really well told. I liked the message of it. I thought that, you totally tell the story here where this woman, she had no idea, and she just reveled in causing chaos and havoc in people's lives. And I know she could say, I was just doing my job, but in reality, because you were so fucking mean in doing your job, somebody took their own life. How do you like it? And that's how the whole kind of thing plays out. Really good. I thought that was clever. I thought it was well told. I thought, while I don't know this writer that much, Richard Benner, and the director John Drury, I'm not familiar with them or their work, but I thought this was a good episode. I don't know. I really liked this one. I would say better than a B. I would put this in the A. I thought this was a good fucking episode. We got a nice little a cell phone tower here. We're raising the bar, but upside down, I guess. I don't know. It's a fun little tier list right here. Let's see what you'll have to say in the comments. Where were we? I think we were here. Stephen King wrote the X-Files episode Chinga, which involved the mother and her daughter and a sinister doll. That's a great episode of TV. Donovan Alba's in the house. D to the A. What's up, Donovan? You never know what's going on in people's lives. They could be living in a day. Oh my God. That I know I know what you're saying there. I can't say it because I could get in a lot of trouble. We knew who we were talking about. Basically, he's making fun of somebody we went to high school with. That's basically what it is. But yeah, no, hope all is well with you, buddy. People saying hi to Jonathan. There's a difference between doing a hard job and going out of your way to hurt people. Berating people should not be a part of the job. Exactly the message that it's trying to tell. It's like, we get it. This lady's energetic. She's on the ball. She's I get it. And I appreciate that part of it. But when you go the extra mile to poke the bear, eventually either the bear's going to bite back or the bear is going to fall over. And it's sad way that's what happens here. But I like that it ends where she's in the shoes of the woman she was berating. Like, now, like, how do you like it, bitch? I thought that was really great. Well said. Great message in this one. Takes it up a notch. It really does. I think it does too. Like, it's, listen, a lot of these are cheap. A lot of these take place in one room, right? And this is no exception. This is your entire episode. You're in this lady's apartment, right? There are a lot of single location shoots because they clearly did not have the fucking money to use more than one location per episode, right? A lot of the episodes have just a few actors in them and not a ton of actors, right? There's two actors in this that you see and one person voice that you hear over the phone. That's all you see in the entire thing. And a lot of the episodes are like that. But this one, I think was damn good. I liked this one. I liked Payment Over Deal. I think it's a sorely underrated one. And I think it's better than the Stephen King episode, go to show you. So, holy shit, this next episode, everyone needs to see this one. This is totally an S tier. Season 4, episode 11, debuted February the 21st of 1988. This is Love Hungry. Desperate to lose weight in order to please an old boyfriend from high school, compulsive eater Betsy Cowland uses mysterious and possibly unsafe products that she receives in the mail. Yes, Love Hungry. Now, this was directed by fucking John Streisig. And John Streisig directed my favorite episode of Tales from the Darkside, The Last Car. So, and that's all about horror. There's no comedy, there's no relief. It's fucking wild. Of course, The Milkman Cometh, which is a great episode. This is one of the funniest episodes of TV you'll ever watch. It's this woman who is very overweight. She's very sad in her life. She goes home one day and she's just miserable, and she gets a call from an old boyfriend, and he says, hey, it's me. Elmo is the name of the boyfriend. I shit you not. Elmo, I'm back in town. I'd love to take you out to dinner, Betsy. And before she can even answer, he's like, I'll pick you up at 8. And she goes, okay. And she's kind of sitting down. She's like, man, how am I going to explain this? Like, I've gained so much weight since high school. What if he doesn't like me anymore? What if he thinks I'm gross or unpretty? And she makes a call on this commercial that she sees about this weight loss thing where they send you a hearing aid and they send you a pair of glasses in the mail in order for you to lose weight. So it's an instant delivery. Like, she hangs up the phone and it's at her door. It's very fucking quick delivery. And she goes outside. She's like, what the hell? So she puts the glasses on and the hearing aid on. And she's like, well, I don't feel any different. I'm still hungry. What the fuck? They go out to this restaurant, and the hearing aid makes her hear food in agony while it's being eaten, as if it was a person being tortured. So if you see somebody cutting a steak, in her ears, she's hearing, ah! the fucking person getting cut alive, and then anytime she takes a bite to eat, it sounds like someone's being fucking slaughtered. So Elmo's eating his food, and they do these obnoxious close-ups as Elmo's eating his fucking mashed potatoes. I was crying laughing at this, man. It's some of the funniest shit you will see as these people, like, she's just in this restaurant and she ultimately faints. She's like, I can't do it, faints. And then she goes back home, and it's her whole next day where she's like, oh my God, that was torture. I'm so hungry. So she goes to eat some fruit. And that's where we see what you could see here in this little tab, the fruit with the faces, right? You have the black eyes and the smiles. She starts to see food as living things, right? All of these fruit, like whether it be her fruit, whether it be the meatloaf in her fridge, the milk, everything starts to have its own life, its own soul, its own personality. And it all talks to her. And she's like, they're like, please don't eat me. I could cause indigestion for days. And they all have these fun accents. Like the pear has a Tennessee accent. She's like, "Oh, honey, I just know what you're going through right now." It's something so fucking funny about it as this fruit is begging her not to eat. I don't know why, man, but I thought this was absolutely hysterical. Like every time I watch this, and this was one as a kid that I was a darling of. Like I always thought this was one of the funniest episodes of Tales of the Darkside. Maybe the funniest. It's just hysterical, man. Like I don't know. I absolutely loved it. I just do. I think this is funny. And it ultimately gets very barbaric by the end, right? She can't eat this food. She's trying not to, and she's all right, I won't eat any of you. I promise I won't. And she's going crazy. She's crying. And she goes to the point of sewing her mouth shut. And it's 2 months later where Elmo and the landlord come and they knock down the door. And of course, they find that she's starved to death and all of the fruit have perished, right? You see the black apple, the black banana, the black pear, all the food has gone bad. And she's just lying there in the middle of the room. This weight loss program has made her starve to death. Really morbid, but funny at the same time. It's a good balance. And again, on the surface, another kind of story where it's talking about the horrors of undesirability, right? I don't feel desirable. What is this old boyfriend going to think of me? Oh my God, what if I lost weight? What if I went to this crazy extreme measure to do it and thus costs her life, right? I really good, really, really good. I love Love Hungry. I'm coming in at an A for Love Hungry. I think Love Hungry is fucking fun. I think it's crazy. It's just, there's nothing else in the series like it. It's just such a wild episode for sure. But let's see what y'all have to say in the comments, because of course I got to see if anyone else has seen Love Hungry. Where were we? I think we were here. Yeah, the Ghost Rider episode looked real cheap too. Oh yeah, there's a lot of really cheap episodes. Unfortunately, they all of them look cheap. We got Jeff in the house. What's up, Graveyard? Busy night, Mr. Chestnut Hair. So I'm gonna have to rewatch from the beginning later. Oh, me and the Chestnut Hair. I know Jeff loves it. Jeff really loved. We hung out in Chicago. Jeff was like one of the biggest fans of the Chestnut Hair. Trippiest episode ever. Yeah, no, holy shit, it is. You're like, what the fuck, man? I remember when I watched this as a kid, I was like, is this real? Like, is this really happening? Like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, remember Love Hungry? Yeah, it's a hard one to forget. She had the Pee-wee's Playhouse fridge. That's right, she did. She had all the stuff on the fridge and the meatloaf saying, I could cause you indigestion for days. I always thought that was one of the funniest things I ever saw. Mr. Chestnut Hair, all quotes, with a Pantene ad on the screen. Is that the oh my God, dude? I didn't even, yeah, I mean, listen, this is, we have to get rid of the comment to show. Yeah, this episode is brought to you by fucking Pantene hair gel, I guess. I don't know. But it sucks because it won't give me the X to X out the fucking ad. So I very much apologize for that. This is a free advertisement night for the Pantene. The fridge coming to life is very much like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Sure. You got to watch Frankie Frico if you like that episode. You know, Merz has been telling me all about Frankie Frico, and I know Will loved it too. So I'm going to have to check that out. I don't know. It's just funny. And like, I love the morbid, like there is still a morbidity to it. Like it's still fucking crazy and dark at the same time. I think Ronnie's wearing the hat because he didn't have time to brush the luscious chestnut hair. No, I'm just doing it because it's Tales from the Darkside week. Hello, Grande. Looking forward to this one for a while. I am quite late, but I'm still glad to be here. Love low-hanging fruit. Robert, Night 90. We'll be reviewing Night of the Living Dead 1990, the 4K uncut, tomorrow night on Alpha Romero's channel. So I know you're a big fan of that movie. I hope you're there because we're going to be reviewing it in all its gory glory. And also ranking, I think, VHS covers of Romero films. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, Love Hungry is a banger. I love Love Hungry. Highly recommend it. As we move on to another one that I really like, this is, of course, season 4, episode number 12, debuted February the 28th of 1988. I'm talking about The Deal. Starving screenwriter Tom Dash claims he would give anything to sell a script in Hollywood. His acquaintance Donald has the means to help him give him anything. This one's directed by T.J. Castronova, of course, who starred in No Strings and was the producer of the series, right? And this one stars, of course, Bradley Whitford. Bradley Whitford was the star here, and of course you remember him from Revenge of the Nerds and Cabin in the Woods and all these great movies. I mean, I always like Bradley Whitford a lot, and he's this lead here as this really aspiring, ambitious, young, up and coming writer in Hollywood. He can't get anything released. He can't get anything published. He can't get a deal signed. He can't sell any of his scripts to these big budget studios, and he's just had it. He's very sad. He's in his apartment and he's just kind of totally beaten down from the real world of Hollywood, right? The whole society of it. And he gets a knock on the door from his neighbor who says, what would you give? Would you give anything to sell one of your scripts? And he goes, yeah, of course I would. I would sell anything. You say, you fucking name it. He goes, would you sell your soul? And the guy goes, sure, I would. Why? I mean, of course, anything to fucking get what I aspire to done, I would do it. Then the guy says, okay, let's see, put your money where your mouth is. Would you sell your soul? And the guy goes ahead and he sells his soul. And of course, you get a good idea of who the guy is that he's talking to, right? Played by, I think it's Alan Garfield is his name. No, it's, Robert Costanzo is the guy who plays the devil in this, right? He sells his soul to him, and then basically he gets his script sold. And then the next problem is, we're bringing in a director that doesn't give a shit about your script, and he's going to change everything. And he goes, well, you can't. You can't just change it to this whole horrible, blasphemous picture. Like, I put a lot of work into this. And then, okay, what would you give for this? I would sell my soul. So then all of a sudden, he's the director, given charge. And there's problems with the actors and actresses. And the producer says you have to get this actress. She's big right now. Oh, but I had this lady. I told her she'd get the part. She's my best friend. Well, no, you could tell her to go home because I'm the producer. I'm the one with the money. And then would you sell your soul again? It goes on and on and on until the point where it's like he keeps selling his soul in order to be charged of things and not realizing that, listen, no matter how far you get in the wonderful world of Hollywood, no matter if you're the writer, if you're the producer, if you're the director, if you're an actor, what have you, no matter who you are, you're never going to be the guy with 100% ultimate control like you want. And I understand that you want to do something good, right? You want to produce something that is going to impress and turn heads and be something original, right? For all to see. This is a guy that wanted that. It's a nice thing. But to sell your soul for it, that's another thing. And that's, of course, the lesson that he has to learn here, right? You should never sell your soul. No matter how much you want your dreams, no matter how much you want your aspirations to come true and how much good you want to do in the profession it is that you are aspiring to be good at, it's not worth your dignity. It's not worth your soul, and it's not worth your self-respect. And that's, of course, the whole story here that it tells. And it's good. I mean, it's your standard. You've probably seen other stories and episodes of things like this. It's not completely the most original thing in the world. It was written by Alan Coulter, who would go on to direct some of the best episodes of The Sopranos, and fun fact, made his directing debut later in the season. We'll get to that episode. It's a great episode. Alan Coulter was the writer of this. I think it's good. It's nothing great, but good. Definitely solid. I would say like a B. I would say totally in the B range. And it's crazy, right? We're like at least so we're 12 episodes in. So we're like 60% of the way through. And we have not had anything lower than a D. We have not had a failure yet. All this, and it's pretty well balanced, right? 3 S's, 3 A's, 3 B's, and then 3 C or lower. And no F's. I mean, that's pretty good little track record here if you're following along at home. Because, yeah, a lot of quality. It's definitely, listen, were there seasons with more S's? Yes. Were there seasons with more F's? Yes. That's the thing. It's a little bit more balanced, I think, overall. Robert Costanzo played the role of Detective Harry Bo. That is absolutely right. He did. And he's really good here as the devil. There's points where he transforms. You see his tail. You see the horns, the little rake. I like all that stuff. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's good at the same time. I don't know. I liked that part of it as well. Definitely, yeah, worth the watch. The Deal is a good one. This next one I really liked. This next one actually had quite a few actors that I knew in it as well as too. And of course, this is season 4, episode number 13, which debuted on May the 1st of 1988. So again, they took another break, right? They didn't do anything in March, nothing in April. This one debuted in May, of course, May the 1st, 1988. This is The Apprentice. And this is another all-female team. Eleanor Gabber, the director, Ellen Sandhouse, the writer, and it stars Haviland Morris, who you may remember from Home Alone 3. She's the mom in Home Alone 3, if people have seen that movie. And there's also a Romero tie in here, which we'll get to. But college sophomore Sarah McBride accepts a job at Colonial Village, a tourist attraction that recreates Puritan life in 1692, Salem, and allows nothing from the 20th century. But things aren't quite as they seem. Yes, The Apprentice. Now, this one also stars Gary Lettee, who you might remember from a little movie called Night Riders. George Romero's Night Riders. Gary Lettee is in it, and he hadn't done acting all the way from that time until this particular episode. So it's kind of cool that all these years later, he's working with Richard Rubenstein, George Romero again. So I'm wondering if one of them just called him because they remembered him fondly from Night Riders, and it's another kind of period piece, right? Granted, Night Riders is not technically a period piece, but it feels like one. It has the aura and the soul of something that would be old school, right? The Renaissance era, if you will. And then this is 1692, of course, Salem, Massachusetts, where, of course, the whole witch thing was going on. And what happens here is we open up in modern day. We open up in the 1980s. So we have Haviland Morris, who goes to this kind of, what's it called? Like pilgrimage village, if you will, in Salem, this Amish community, if you will. And she goes there and she's like, hey, I want to work here. I want to work for you. And the guy says, okay, like you got the job. Just leave everything from this century in this locker and you could start today. So she strips down everything. The only thing she keeps is a lighter because she's a big smoker. So she keeps the lighter on herself. And he goes, okay, go through this door. He shows her to the door. And when she goes through the door, she's kind of transformed back into the 1690s. All of a sudden, it's 1692, and she doesn't know it. She thinks she's just playing a character in this community, right? She's just, playing along, whatever. And she goes back, and we see how people were at this time, right? I mean, women, this is 1690s, right? Women were really looked at in only one way. You fucking clean, you provide, and that's it. That's all you do. Like that's kind of what this is. And it's definitely a commentary on that. Like I think the all-female writing and directing team were definitely trying to say fuck men in this episode. And listen, I'm not always for that, but I think this was a case where it worked pretty well and it wasn't as in your face as general. And I thought it was classily done, if that's a thing. Like Gary Lettee, he's this really mean, overbearing guy to his, his lover, and he's talking down to her. And Haviland Morris is like, why are you letting this guy talk to you like that? Like, and he's like, all you do is cook and clean. That's it. And she's like, what is this, the fucking, what is this, the olden days? I mean, not realizing that she actually is in the olden days, and she's trying to tell her, like, yeah, stand up for yourself. Like, don't let this guy talk down to you. And we get the whole idea, of course, eventually she starts talking back and things like that. And he sees that she uses the lighter for the cigarette, right? And he thinks she must be a witch. So he runs out and tries to go get the town and the cavalry to stone this woman to death. And then, of course, the whole thing plays out where we need to get back to the real time. Fun, really fun one. I liked this. I liked the period setting. I thought the actors did a good job. I thought it was written fairly well. The ending is something I didn't see coming. I didn't see how it ends. I won't ruin this one for you because this is an underseen episode. I didn't really see it coming. I'll say that. And I liked the whole thing. So I don't know. Another fucking probably like a B. This is close. It's a B, but it's a higher B. It's a B plus for sure. I would take it over all three of these in the B column for sure. It's very good, but it's not quite an A. It's not quite there. But it's solid. It's definitely solid. I like this one for sure. Let's see. Grande, where can I get that? I think it's out of print, if I'm not mistaken. It was on Fright Rags. So if you want to check Fright Rags, that was where I got it. I think, though, it's not in print anymore. Maybe eBay. Excuse me, I burped. Maybe eBay would be your best bet. But I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you, to be perfectly honest. This is a great one, too. Love the ending. Yeah, I'm with you. That ending, like, totally took it up a notch. And I like the acting. The whole idea of it was good. This is one, I'll say, Albert, like, I wish this one was longer. I thought like all of these are about 20 minutes, right? It's not even the total 25 minutes. The Twilight Zones were 25 minutes unedited. These were 20 minutes unedited. Like if you watch, you could go through these way quicker. Like that extra 5 minutes, it may not sound like much, but for every 4 episodes, you're saving 20 minutes as opposed to what you'd be investing in Twilight Zone, and that adds up after a while, right? I don't know. I thought this was a really good one. I loved the idea. I loved the acting performances. I wish my gripe is I wish it was longer. I wish it was more fleshed out. Like, you could have got an hour out of this for sure. And I think it would have been really something like an A or an S tier. But as it is, really solid one. Like, I like this one for sure. But talking about S tiers, man, talking about one of the all-time great Darksides, talking about one that you have to watch this Halloween season. I do not care. I do not care. I'm talking about season 4, episode 14, that debuted May the 8th of 1988. Talking about the Cuddy Black Sow. Yes, the Cuddy Black Sow. Brief plot synopsis. Young Jamie receives and takes seriously a deathbed warning from his great-grandmother to guard against the legendary Cuddy Black Sow. Yes, of course, directed by Richard Glass, written by the late great, and my favorite Tales from the Darkside writer. I would say my favorite Tales from the Darkside writer was Michael McDowell. And this was sadly the last episode he would go on to write. I know he sadly, we would lose him too young. I think he contracted HIV, I believe, in the late 90s. So it's really sad that he's no longer with us, because I thought he was a great horror mind. And this was a big year for him. Like, when you think about it, this was the year fucking Beetlejuice came out. He wrote Beetlejuice. He wrote the initial screenplay for Beetlejuice, and a lot of his stuff stays in the film. And, you know, it's nice that he still took the time to stick with Darkside. And how many great Tales from the Darkside episodes that he was able to write, right? And of course, The Last Car is my favorite. You know, and then earlier in the season, you did have one written by him. But right here, The Moth was written by him. But this one, to me, why I like him as a writer as much as I did, Michael McDowell, it's episodes like this. It's episodes like, you know, the Cuddy Black Sow. And it tells the story of this grandmother who is on her deathbed. She's dying. She's from Scotland. She's from the old Scotland era. And of course, she's dying. And her grandson kind of sits by her deathbed and says, "Oh, Grandma, you know, I love you," all this stuff. And she tells him the story of the Cuddy Black Sow, who was this demon creature that would come on All Hallows Eve to collect the souls of those who did not put stones in the fireplace, you know, before midnight. And of course, that's the whole thing here, where if you don't put your stone with your letter or name or something signifying that it's you on it, the Cuddy Black Sow will come to get you. And of course, the boy hears this story, and we hear these Scottish kind of horns in the background, the bagpipes, if you will, as she's telling the story. And he believes it, hook, line, and sinker. He's a little kid. He's hook, line, and sinker, believes it. And he starts to discuss the Black Cuddy Sow. We need to get away from it, and we need to escape it, right? And what happens is, you know, one night he puts all of the family's names in the stones, and he writes their names on it. And then, of course, he goes out with his sister to go trick-or-treating. When he comes back, he finds that his stone has fallen out of the fireplace, and the tension that ensues from there is truly sensational. We watch this kid as he is petrified to death that the Cuddy Black Sow is coming to get him. And they do a lot of great false scares, right? There's a knock at the door. It opens suddenly. It's the parents coming home from a night out. You know, there's a point where he thinks that he sees the Black Cuddy Sow, but it's just the eyes. They're behind him. They open up, and they're that orange Halloween color, right? The pumpkin orange eyes that the Cuddy Black Sow has. And then it all leads up to the boy going to bed, and he thinks all is well. He finally lets his guard down, and the dad comes running in after the boy screams, and he goes, "Son, what's wrong? What's going on?" And he goes, "Oh, I thought I saw the Cuddy Black Sow," you know. And the dad comes over to tuck him in, and we see that the dad is fucking the Cuddy Black Sow. Like, we see him in the shadows, and when he gets closer and closer, it's revealed he's this demon, and just goes ahead and eats the son. Whoa, like, holy shit, scary. Like, so good. I loved everything about it. I loved the campfire tale, if you will, of this long legend that comes to kill you on All Hallows Eve if you do not put the stones in the fireplace. The whole Scottish vibe of it. They have a Scottish score throughout the whole thing. I thought that worked for the most part. The kid actor I thought was really good. He felt like a real everyday life kid. Didn't feel like an actor, just felt very like authentic, I thought. And I don't know, I thought everything about it, the tension, the direction, and of course the writing from McDowell. Like, this is, to me, it's a sad, it's like, to me, you can reboot this show if you tried, right? Let's say tomorrow that somebody on one of the major streaming services said, let's reboot Tales from the Darkside. Let's get John Harrison in here. Let's get Stephen King in here. Let's get Savini. Let's get fucking Joe Hill. Let's get everybody that you know, was a part of Creep Show or Tales from the Darkside of yesteryear or what have you. You could try it all you want. To me, one of the biggest heart and souls of this show was a guy like Michael McDowell, and my favorite writer of this whole thing. To me, you could never do it without him. Like that, he was a big instrumental key as to why this show worked the way it did. Because his episodes always had something to say, and they always kind of celebrated the genre. Whereas this was a time in the horror community, in the genre itself, where it was more so being poked fun at, right? We were playing strip poker with a mummy. It's 1986 onward for all the way through like 89, 90, where the genre just wasn't taking itself as seriously anymore. Even the slasher movies, it was like they were in on the joke. It was tongue in cheek now. There's your cheerleader camps of the world, your rabid grannies, your movies that were, okay, we're presenting as horror, but we're going to be more silly. Michael McDowell was a guy, he didn't go that route. Like he stuck with, I love horror because it's scary, and I love horror because of what I could say about everyday real life with it, and monsters and myths and legends and ethoses and things like that. I think McDowell was just so ahead of his time, and it's a shame he died so young because I think he could have totally, told some great stories as this thing went on. It's a shame that he's gone, and I think that as a last episode to write for him, he absolutely hit a smash home run. I really like the Cuddy Black Sow. It's a great Halloween season watch, right? On All Hallows Eve, you got to watch it. You got to put your stones in the fireplace. Otherwise, the Cuddy Black Sow will come to get you. Really good stuff. Simple, but ultimately oh so effective in my opinion. Really good stuff. I really like the Cuddy Black Sow. Doesn't look like anyone commented on this one, but I highly recommend it. I think people should totally see it for sure. Last 5 here, ladies and gents. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, actually, maybe not. Maybe more than 5. But we're going to move on, of course, into season 4, episode number 15. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to tell you twice. Do not open this box. Yes, it aired May the 15th, 1988. Brief plot synopsis. Charles is a meek inventor living with his greedy, nagging wife, Rose. The mail brings them a misdirected box saying, do not open this box. Then the postman comes looking for it and says there will be hell to pay if he doesn't get it back. I mean, the elephant in the room here is this episode is directed by fucking none other than Jodie Foster. Crazy. Absolutely crazy that Jodie Foster steps into the director's chair here and directs this. And I mean, wow, what a weird, like you would never think Jodie Foster directed a Tales of the Dark, and she directed a lot of things, right? She directed a lot of films, a lot of TV, and this was her first directed, anything, right? This was the first thing she ever directed. It's really cool to see that someone like her got her start here. And the same thing within a couple episodes, Alan Coulter. We'll get into Alan Coulter and his directing debut. His career started right here in, Laurel Productions and Tales from the Darkside. And of course, Jodie was a known entity at this time. And sorry about that if you hear there's an ambulance coming down the street over here. I don't know if you can even hear that, but for her to step into the director's chair was really interesting. And funny enough, Bob Balaban was the writer who he directed the very first episode, the pilot of Tales from the Darkside, if you will. So really cool here. As we have Eileen Heckard, which I always remember her from Burnt Offerings. She's the creepy lady with the sister of Burgess Meredith, right? We love this house. This woman, she's so good. Eileen Heckard, man, she's such a good actress. She's playing the nagging Karen wife here, who's mean to her husband, who's played by I want to say his name is I think it's William LaMessina is his name. He does a good job as the husband. He is this like wannabe inventor. He wants to be this guy that creates all these great, wonderful things. And she always tears him down and shits on his life. And, oh, your dreams aren't anything and it's not important. And I know better than you and you didn't provide for me. And I should have married this person. One of those wives, just completely mean, almost like the Adrienne Barbeau character in Creepshow, right? The whole, other than the whole, and no good and bad, right? This older lady that her character is. She is this nagging wife, and one day they get this delivery that says, do not open this box. And she's ultimately, we need to open it. We need to open it right now. He goes, this doesn't belong to us. It's clearly like mistakenly delivered. Let's give it back and do the morally right thing. And she kind of just berates him. Oh, you're such a softie. You're a loser. Why did I marry you? You won't even open this box. You have no sense of excitement, no sense of wonder, nothing. Like she's just undressing him with insults. And of course, what happens is the postman comes by It says, listen, I accidentally delivered something to this house that was incorrectly delivered. I'm going to need it back. It's a little box that says, do not open this box. And of course, she immediately goes, oh, maybe we have it, but what's in it for us? So she tries to get a bribe. And the postman says, listen, I'll give you anything. I need that back. It's a matter of life and death. Like, I need that box back. And she says, okay. And they, of course, starting to get rained with, expensive, fancy clothing and all these luxuries and things like that she's kind of loving to have. They're having these big parties and all of this stuff just because they're holding this box hostage from this nice postman. And then, of course, it all kind of culminates to the postman finally putting his foot down and saying, listen, I need the box back. This has been enough. Like, you've made me enough of a fool here. I'm going to need the box back. Otherwise, there's going to be consequences. And she goes, oh, yeah? What kind of consequences? And she goes to kind of grab a knife while he's not looking at it. She stabs him in the back. And it's this whole moment where she's like, oh, my God, stabs him in the back. And he turns around. He's perfectly fine. You see he has the goatee, and he almost looks like a little devil. And he says, you know something? This wasn't a mistake delivery. This was a pickup. I'm here to pick up a soul. And she's like, what do you mean? And the whole idea is that the what's in the box it was supposed to be a human soul. And he's not there by mistake to deliver the box. He's there on purpose to pick up the box and get her soul. And that's what happens here as this horrible, evil, nasty, cruel woman gets her soul taken. And this guy kind of just walks away. And then, of course, the husband's not sad at all. And you see that he might strike up a romance with a woman who's living in the apartment next to him. I don't know. Good, very good. I liked Foster's direction. It's so cool that she directed a Tales from the Darkside episode to me. Like, I'm always just like, Jodie Foster. Like, how cool is that, man? If I ever met Jodie Foster, I would ask her about this. I would not, like, enough people ask her about Silence of the Lambs and Taxi Driver, all these fucking movies. I don't give a fuck. Tell me about this episode. Like, tell me what was going on in your life. Tell me about voicing fucking Pugsley Addams in the 70s Addams Family cartoon. Like, I would want to ask Jodie Foster the most obscure shit. I would never ask her any mainstream stuff. This one, I would say like a B or an A. Man, I don't know if I give it the A. It's a B. If I'm being fair, it's a B plus. It's better than The Deal, Sorry Right Number, and The Yattering Jack. It's like right there with The Apprentice. It's pretty good. I like this one for sure. Let's see where we were. Jodie Foster also directed Little Man Tate. Absolutely. Jodie Foster was known as a child actress from appearing in movies like Freaky Friday or Taxi Driver, and also Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Love Jodie Foster. Yoshi Jones. That's a first-time name in the graveyard. Welcome, Yoshi. Flight Plan. Everyone, a lot of Jodie Foster love in the house. Do Not Open This Box is a good episode. I agree. I like Do Not Open This Box. I think it's a solid one, too. Like, Eileen Eckert is a pro. Eileen Eckert, I believe, was an Oscar winner. So she fucking nails playing the nagging Karen wife. And then, of course, you have another Oscar winner as the director. So holy shit, you have a lot of gold involved here. Also, Panic Room. Oh, Panic Room's great. Panic Room is and Kristen Stewart. That's a really good one. Wow, looks like everybody wants Jodie Foster retrospective. Look at this. Jodie Foster was also in the cult child gangster movie Bugsy Malone, which had we're going to be speaking about a Malone here tonight, but not the one you're thinking of. I love this. Tales of the Unexpected is Tales from the Dark Side. Yes, no, it's a great show. I really do enjoy it, and we're up to the last few episodes here, last 5 episodes, of course. Coming in at the next slot here, which was season 4, episode number 16, that debuted May the 22nd of 1988. I'm talking about Family Reunion. Yes, Family Reunion. Janice Perry claims that her husband, Robert, has kidnapped their son, Bobby, but Robert maintains that the boy needs to be cured of an illness. After all, Bobby hasn't been himself lately. Yes, written by Edithe Swenson, another great writer of the show, and directed by the legend himself, Mr. Tom Savini. Yes, Tom Savini directs his 3rd and final Tales from the Darkside episode here, and I would say it's his best. And I would say it's in the conversation and most likely the best episode of this season for me. It's Mary Mary, or oh man, let's take a look at the list again. I mean, it's just fucking hard to say because I know I have a few. I would say No Strings, Mary Mary, and this are the best 3 episodes of this season for sure. And I really, really enjoy this one we're going to discuss here. It stars none other than Patricia Tallman, who, of course, if Robert 99 is still here, these are the two that will go on to direct, right? Tom Savini directed Night 90, and then of course Patricia Tallman is Barbara in Night 90. So, and that's just a couple years after this. It was 2 years later that movie comes out in the theaters. So, in a lot of ways, this was the precursor that we got with this director, this lead actress, to the Night 90 remake. So I always look at this as like the spiritual, this got them the job, right? And obviously I know Richard and George and all these people were on the scene at the time, but it's understandable why they got the job, because this episode is that good. We follow this father who is holding his son captive. He's chaining him to the bed at night, and the son is this, he seems like a nice kid, seems like a normal kid, but we understand that there are some things going on when the moon rises, if you will. And this kid every night becomes a werewolf. He becomes this little werewolf that he chains to the bed and tries to hold captive, as he proceeds to kind of try to hide the kid from the mother, who's played by Patricia Tallman. And Patricia Tallman has this great monologue where she tells the story of how they were attacked on vacation, how they were just this, one big happy family that were attacked on vacation one day by this creature, and how she tried to jump in to save the son, but the son was injured in the ordeal, and it destroyed their marriage. And now the father has taken the son away from her, and she's just this sad, grieving mother, like, I need to get my son back, I need to get my kid back. And this woman at child services, like, I totally understand what you're going through, I'm trying to help you here, like, you've got to just, we have to visit the house, and we have to back up what you're saying. We can't just take your word for this and take it away from the son. Like, we've got to see it firsthand, and then we can step in, then we can make our move. And of course, the father and the son, there's some great scenes with the two of them just talking about, how it feels, right? The son discusses the whole story of how it feels to become a werewolf, how at first you don't want it to happen, but then you just become this invincible, invulnerable monster with the thirst and lust for blood. This animal that he at one point brings him a cheeseburger, and he eats the cheese. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a roast beef sandwich. He gives him the roast beef sandwich. He's eating it, and then of course he takes the bowl of gravy, and he starts drinking the bowl of gravy like he's a dog. Really crazy, really, really good stuff. I just love that. I thought that all that stuff was really, really good. And I don't know, I like how this whole episode is presented. It's very morbid. It's very dark. It's very gothic, and very good stuff. Like, I just love the feel of this. And you have a lot of Savini in it, right? You have a creepy face in the window when the boy's dreaming at night in one episode, one scene. You have this creepy sculpture. It's like a monstrous sculpture that's really weird. I thought that was really interesting. Like, everything about it works. And then the whole idea of the horrors of family, right? In a normal situation, right? There are situations of broken homes where parents become possessive over their children, right? Is it right sometimes? Is it wrong sometimes? Is it right to pick a side, right? Is there a better side to be on? It depends on the circumstance. It's all circumstantial. Here, though, we're made to believe that the father is this horrible guy for, chaining up his son and all this stuff, and they're painting him to be this terrible guy, when all he's really trying to do is protect other people from being killed by this fucking werewolf. And then, of course, Patricia Tallman and the person come in, and all hell breaks loose when it is revealed that Patricia Tallman is also a fucking werewolf, and attacks the husband and the social worker, and reunites with her son as they're both werewolves, and they start like rubbing noses. Really good. Like, I love the ending. They howl at the moon. Like, really good. A really good werewolf episode. Again, the gothicness that Savini brings to the table, I love that here. I think it's just tremendous. There's something about this episode that I just love. It has everything. And the werewolf effects, it's Savini, so it's going to be top notch. And it is. It's really, really good. Savini directed some great stuff with this show. Halloween Candy is a classic. Inside the Closet's the episode that everyone remembers. I think it's the most remembered Darkside, and those are great stuff. But man, for me, Family Reunion is the best Savini episode. And I would say it's most likely the second best episode of this entire series. Like, it's The Last Car, and then it's probably this. I think this is a great, great episode. Highly recommend. You know where it's going. It's going in the S tier. It's sadly our last S tier of the night. We don't have any more S's after this, so it's kind of a spoiler. But I really like Family Reunion. I think Family Reunion is a damn good Darkside. Let's see what you guys have to say in the chat. Where were we? Inside number 9 is amazing, though. You should check that out. It's an anthology series similar to Tales of the Unexpected. Oh, okay. I've not seen that. I'll have to check it out. Waiting to see if there's a pop for Masher Malone. Oh, buddy. There's going to be a pop for Masher Malone. I'm telling you right now. Can I ask, sorry to interrupt you, but you only talk of tales of the unexpected. You seem very knowledgeable. Do you only? No. So if you want to check out the channel, my friend Yoshi, if you want to get on your Mario Kart and check out the channel, go be my guest. There's tons and tons and tons of content, over 300 episodes of Grande's Graveyard that you could bob and weave through, tons of topics. So if you're interested, I would say just guide through the channel, and there's a ton of good stuff there. Inside Number 9 is fantastic, funny, and scary at times. I've got to see this. I've never even heard of it. What era is it from? Can someone tell me what era Inside Number 9 is from? I noticed that also it's a Night of the Dead reunion before the movie was made. I like this one too. It really is. It's so, like, I truly think the way it went down was obviously Night 90 would have shot in 1989. This debuts in 1988. I really wonder if everyone in the production team was like, holy shit, that was a really good episode. Why don't we get Tom to direct finally? And why don't we get that lady who was the mom? Why don't we get her to be Barbara? Like, I totally feel like that's how it went down. And if it's not, it certainly was a variant of what went down. Now, obviously, the people there are the only people that can tell you that story. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in that Night 90 4K release. I'm sure there's a ton of interviews. I would love to know if anyone mentions this episode, because it's the precursor to that movie. Like, it's like you can watch it as a double feature. Dogs aren't the only ones that drink a bowl of gravy, just saying, this is true, Mr. Zitro. But I love that he uses his tongue to drink it. Like, he cups his tongue. I was like, oh my God, this fucking kid went all out to become a werewolf for this. Like, it's pretty entertaining. Inside Number 9 is great. I love the anthology series. Okay, not bad looking werewolves for TV budget. Totally not. And it's, because it's Savini. Savini probably did it with his own time. Like, there's no doubt. Oh, Albert, dude, you've got to see this one. I'm telling, like, the rest of these episodes I'm talking about after this, no. Like, granted, there's some good ones, but not nearly as good as this. This is fucking great episode. Like, see it. Highly recommend. Okay, so being a clown, just intruding, where did the aeroplane captain and the air hostess what the fuck? What? Okay, whatever, but we'll move on to the next episode here on Grande's Graveyard. Let's move on to the next episode. It is season 4, episode number 17, of course, which debuted on June the 19th. They took a few-week break after family reunion of 1988. This is Going Native. An alien on Earth who is studying humans in a therapy group envies them and wants to be one. This one is fucking forgettable. This is a bad episode of Tales from the Darkside to me. This is, it's written by Theodore Gershony, who I really like, and I thought he did other really good episodes, but this ain't one of them, man. Andrew Weiner also fucking directed this. This is horrible. I don't like this one at all. This is about an alien who studies in a therapy group and is studying human culture, and they don't understand humans. They bash humans and all this stuff. And then what happens here is that they eventually want to see what humans feel with love, and they have sex with some of the person in the group, and then you find out that the person in the group was fucking somebody else, and the alien gets pissed just like a human was. And that's the whole fucking episode. It's bad. You have this bad softcore porn, like Skinamax feel to this episode, vibe, a horrible fucking jazz score that does not stop playing for the entire fucking episode. This is torture. I hated this one. Honestly, this is F. I fucking hate this one. I hate Going Native. Worthless episode of the show. And an otherwise great season. Don't watch this one. Like, that's one I'd skip. I'd cut. I thought it was fucking terrible. The acting sucked. It was very over melodramatic. I don't know. It just sucked. 2014 to 2025, I mentioned a few episodes that were relevant in other streams. Okay, yeah, all right. I forgot. I had forgotten about that. So it did run from 11-year run. That's quite a run. This one was very weird. I don't know it was like a fucking bad softcore porno with no goods. Like, fuck. Honestly, I would have rather this fucking motherfucker start getting naked or something. This sucked. Like, oh my God. Like, I just totally didn't. No worries. Yeah, no worries. I was like so confused. I'm like, why do you keep mentioning Tales of the Unexpected? Like, I was confused. I'm like, did it not? Is it called something else somewhere else? I don't know. Oh, good. No worries. Yeah, I don't know. Going Native is the first F what we're going to get here. I don't like Going Native. But I'll tell you about one that kicks fucking ass. Is this next episode, season 4, episode 18, of course, as we enter the final 3. This one debuted on July the 10th of 1988. Again, this was our last big break until we got 3 weeks in July, and then we said goodbye to Ever for Tales from the Darkside. This is Hush. On a seemingly ordinary night, a teenage babysitter and a young boy are terrorized by the boy's latest invention that goes AWire, a noise eater, which in reality sucks the life out of its victims. Written by John Harrison, directed by Alan Coulter, which of course is, like I said, the guy that would go on to direct quite a few great episodes of The Sopranos. He would go on, I believe he directed the college episode. He directed Long-Term Parking, a lot of great Sopranos work that this guy went on to do. And this was his first directing job, was on Tales from the Darkside. So pretty cool. And I love the episode. I think it's a really good one. It's this classic story. Girl comes over to babysit little boy. The little boy is like this inventor. He invents all these weird contraptions, right? Kind of like the kid from Toy Story, but if he invented like toys that, became like machines and things like that. And he invents this one that is a noise, a stopper to noise making, right? It's a noise stopper. And it's this giant vacuum that has wheels and this giant fucking like nose, this schnozzle, if you will, that will suck the noise out of anything. And in turn, it sucks the life out of anything if it connects. So this contraption goes around the house and it starts killing everything. Kills the dog, kills the goldfish. It starts, if the music is playing on the radio, it sucks the mute. Like everything goes around, it just destroys. Very fucking fun. It's a really tense episode where this babysitter has to try to outsmart the thing and figure out how to destroy it. So there's points where she's running around the house and she turns on the blender. She'll turn on the microwave. She'll turn on the toaster. She turns on the timer. She turns on all the clocks, the alarms, the TV, the radio, the record player, everything as she's kind of scrambling around. And this machine is following her beat for beat, trying to kill her. Really good. I mean, I liked it. I thought a lot of fun with this. I thought the director did a really good job in building the tension and the fear and making this thing feel like an actual threat. And then, of course, there's the whole finale where she has to finally kill the damn thing. And it's really good. I like Hush a lot. Like, I think Hush is arguably the last really, really good Darkside. Granted, there's one I really like after this, but it's like one I could say that is objectively a very solid episode. I really like Hush. I'm going to say A. I thought this one was really good. I would say Hush is definitely in the A tier here. Because again, it just had a little bit of everything. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was like a fun, like a cat and mouse episode, if you will. And I thought it was pretty damn good. The killer vacuum one, right? Yeah, exactly. Sounds like K-Pax. Oh, does it? Oh, that it does for sure. I like this one. Hush is a really good one. It's cool to see a director that would get so much work and is still making films, to get his start on something like a show as small as this. Oh, man. We've been mostly positive all night. Only 2 episodes of a so far 18 that are lower than a C, and only 1 F of those 2. Pretty crazy. But unfortunately, we move on to the second worst episode of this show. The second worst in its history. I still stand by the bitterest pill from season 3 is the worst episode of Tales from the Darkside. Out of 90 episodes, that's the worst one. I stand by that. But if there was a second worst, it's this one right here. It is season 4, episode 19, the penultimate episode of this show. And yes, it's not moving from the F column. I got news for you. It's Barter. Yes, season 4, episode 19, Barter. It debuted July the 17th of 1988. Married housewife Ruthie receives a visit from a bizarre salesman named Klatsu, whose mechanical device may help her shut out the sound of her son Nikki's constant drum playing in a way Ruth had never imagined. Yeah, this sucks. This fucking sucks. I hate this with a passion. This was, let's do I Love Lucy, and what was the fucking show? It was like something like, I'm sure Slasher Fred will know. It's something like Martian, Meeting a Martian, something like that. There was another old show, and it's trying to make a marriage between the two of them. It was like, what if I Love Lucy and whatever the Martian show was, it slips my fucking mind. What if they came together? We made a Darkside episode out of it, and it wasn't dark, and it was just horrible comedy from start to finish about this dumbass kid playing his fucking drums and this Klatsu motherfucker that comes in and drinks a bunch of ammonia and turns the kid off with a universal remote, and a bunch of people are just arguing. There is a reason this is the lowest rated episode of the show. Because it's fucking terrible. It's not funny. It's not charming. It's not clever. It's not smart. It's not well acted. It's fucking stupid. You have this lady trying to pretend she's fucking Lucille Ball, and instead she's Lucille Balls. You have this fucking guy trying to pretend he's Desi. Ain't nobody fucking Desi. The fucking kid, he's supposed to be little Ricky, right? And at points he's calling him little Mickey, which is fucking retarded and unbelievable that they could fuck up that bad, but they do. My Favorite Martian, that's right. That's the name of it. My Favorite Martian was the name of the show. Thank you, AJ Zetro. Fucking horrible idea for a Tales from the Dark Side. And there's a reason they probably pushed this off till way later. It's most likely because they were like, this is fucking bad. Like, this shouldn't air. And they were right. This is bad. This is absolutely, like, they should be ashamed they put money into this. Like, this sucked. I hate this episode. Totally the worst of season 4, bottom of the barrel, and the second worst episode of the entire show. If I ever did like a top 10 worst, this would be number 2 for sure. Which brings you to the series finale. The series finale of Tales from the Dark Side. And yeah, I mean, it's a sad journey to get here, right? 90 episodes this had. And you know, there's the whole 100 episode rule. It would have been amazing. Imagine if this got to 100 and this could have played in syndication for years to come and they could have gotten paid handsomely to do so. I'm sure Rubenstein would have loved that. And I'm sure this show would be available in better formats. And I'm sure, and I know a lot of people always say, you know, there's no way they can make Darkside look better because it was shot cheaply. You're wrong. You're actually wrong. It was shot cheaply. You're right about that. What you're wrong about is these were shot on film. And I was shocked when I heard that. But Michael Felsher confirmed these were shot on film and they do exist somewhere with the original music. It may be in a vault in CBS somewhere. We're never going to see it. It's never going to happen. But man, part of me wishes that if this did hit the 100 episode mark, that we would have maybe gotten a better looking series overall when the releases came out down the road. And that's something that I always have kind of yearned for. That's just a fantasy, unfortunately. It's not something that's ever going to come true. But in a journey this long, it's crazy. You get to the episode 90, the very last episode of the series. I'm talking about Basher Malone. Yes, Basher Malone, the final episode of Tales from the Dark Side, aired July the 24th, 1988. Brief plot synopsis. Professional wrestler Basher Malone fights Trog, a demon wrestler summoned by unscrupulous promoter Tippy Ryan for a private match in Tippy's gym. This was directed by Anthony Santa Crochet. He produced quite a few of these, written by Peter O'Keefe, starring Vic Tayback. Vic Tayback, you may remember him all the way back from The New Man, which was technically season 1, episode 1 of Tales from the Dark Side. So he stars in the very first episode of Tales from the Dark Side anthology, The New Man, right? I don't have a son named Jerry. And then he all the way in the last episode finishes it off. He's in the very last episode as this fun, greasy, Paul Heyman-like character, right, that he's playing, this manager of all these heel wrestlers and stuff that's very doing anything he takes to win and gloating and things like that. Vic Tayback, really cool to see him. And we watch as Basher Malone is this guy that's sort of a ripoff of Hulk Hogan, right? The look is very Hulk, very may Hulk rest in peace, right? The bleach. At this time, blonde and it became white eventually, right? The mother, the whole idea of brush your teeth and all this stuff before you go to bed, kids, and treat your mother good. That's all the things that Basher Malone says. It's like a ripoff of Hulkster. Instead of say your vitamins, eat your prayers, it's brush your teeth and love your mother. That's what he says in the episode. I'm not even kidding you. And the mother is his manager. The mother is his heater, if you will, his valet. And she kind of helps him win the matches, right? She throws him cookies when he's in the rest hold and he'll Hulk out of it and like power slam people. And then Vic Tayback has had enough of it. He gets so angry. He's like, son of a bitch. Like, I can't beat this guy. And what happens is he goes to the drastic measures of, what if I summon a wrestler from hell? And what he does is Vic Tayback summons a demon from a Pepsi machine. Yes, I'm not fucking kidding you. A demon from a Pepsi machine comes out, is this Lucha Libre mask, and his name is Trog, and he has this hot woman with him. And Vic Tayback, like, it's this whole introduction, almost like it's the Brood in WWF. It's so fun how this guy enters the room. It's like this Pepsi machine, and they put this horrible blue vortex behind it to make it look like he's coming from another dimension and out of the Pepsi machine and into the ring. Really funny. I had a good time with that. And Vic Tayback just eats up the scenery here. Really good at chewing up scenery. As we watch this episode, it's basically a 2 out of 3 falls match between Basher, the ultimate good, and Trog, the ultimate evil. And then there's, of course, a lot of fun wrestling moves. If you love pro wrestling like I do, you will love this episode because it's everything that we know and love about pro wrestling. It's a lot of rest holds and scoop slams and elbows off the top and near falls and stuff like that. People trying to interfere and only to be, eating shit, falling on their faces. Really good stuff. I mean, I love all that. I thought all that stuff was fun, and that's the charm of pro wrestling. And then, of course, it comes down to the last fall, and Vic Tayback is trying to grab the purse from the mom. Bastion Malone tries to stop him, and the Demon goes on the top rope, dives out of the ring, and misses everybody except Vic Tayback, and they go through the Pepsi machine back into the dimension of hell. And Bastion Malone's like, "Hey, Mom, we could go for steaks," and they just go and walk off. And that's how the series ends. It's fucking Bastion Malone and his mother say they're going to a steakhouse, and that's the end of Tales from the Dark Side. It is wild to think about. Now, there's some really fun things in this. Briggs Stevens is randomly in this. If you have a good eye, you'll see Briggs Stevens is one of the people at the very beginning cheering on Bastion Malone. You're like, holy shit, it's Brink. Like, holy shit. Crazy. Again, if I ever met Briggs Stevens, I would not care to ask her about anything else but Bastion Malone. Like, I want a shirt, the Basher shirts, like they're the Hulkamania shirts. So fucking funny, man. I don't know. It has a charm to its silliness and its goofiness, and it's in a weird way, I think, the best way to end this show, right? Okay, were there better episodes in this season? Absolutely. Were there episodes that you could have ended Tales from the Dark Side a little bit more dark and horrific? Absolutely. But to end it with something so silly and so fun, I don't mind that at the same time. And if you look at the greats, right? You look at the Twilight Zone, you look at Tales from the Crypt. What did they end with? The Three Little Pigs was Tales from the Crypt. That was the last Tales from the Crypt episode. Over 7 seasons, over 93 episodes. The last Tales from the Crypt is a fucking animated episode with pigs, and one of them is voiced by Brad Garrett. The Twilight Zone, the very last Twilight Zone, is a hated episode. Rod Serling claimed it was the worst episode. I never agreed. I always liked the Bewitching Pool. But it was an episode that had tremendous production problems. It was an episode that had horrible ADR. It was an episode where, of course, these kids went down to the bottom of the swimming pool, and then they were in this other universe where Aunt T would take care of you and stuff. And I loved that stuff. I thought that stuff was great. I liked the last episode of Tales of the Twilight Zone. I always thought it was really good. But it was hated, and I know Rod pushed it off on purpose because he thought it was so bad. He was like, I don't want this to air. So they waited for reruns to start airing of the 5th season. And then he was like, all right, now air it because we have to, right? But he didn't want it to air. So it's a funny story where Rod was just so ashamed of that episode that he held it off. But it's a weird one. It's a really weird way to end it. I think Bastion Malone fits right in there. It's not objectively the greatest thing in the world. It's not fucking, the wrestler with Mickey Rourke. But it's very, very fun. It's very tongue-in-cheek. And it's like, you know what? Let's end on a positive note, a sillier note. Let's fucking walk away. And of course, this is, like I said, when CBS eventually took over Laurel and Tales from the Dark Side was no more, that eventually became Monsters. But this is a show that I've always really loved. And like Bastion Malone being the last episode, I know a lot of people always say it's one of the worst. I'm not there. I think Bastion Malone is fucking fun. I don't give two shits what people say. Bastion Malone for me is a B. I think Bastion Malone is fine. Like I totally think Bastion Malone's funny and it's entertaining and it's worth a watch. So I like Bastion Malone. But yeah, so this is, of course, all the episodes of season number 4. I got comments here. And I do have a bonus review before we go. So quick comments. Let's go here. Vic Tayback sort of started the show. Exactly. It is. I mean, the first official episode is The New Man. I know the pilot is technically Trick or Treat, but a year later was when the series actually started because that pilot was picked up and the first episode of the series is The New Man, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, no, it is. It's the perfect full circle. And it's sad. Vic Tayback died just a few years later. He did not go on to live very much longer. I think he died like 1990, 1991-ish, counting pilot episode. No, I think it's the first and last episode. Like, I'm with you. I think it's a beautiful storybook. It's like, wait till you see Vic Tayback again and before you know it, the show is over. Oh, I might have to check out Vic Tayback doing something besides Alice in wrestling episode. Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. It's, if you love pro wrestling like I do, like I know a lot of my watchers do, you will like this episode. It's very fun, very hokey, very tongue-in-cheek, but in a good way. Like I think it's in a good way. He was in Star Trek as well, the episode Piece of Action, right? Hell in a Cell would have been a perfect stipulation. It really would have, right? If they had a budget and it was 1998, 99, totally would have done a Hell in a Cell match with Basher versus Trong. But Basher would not have been like Hulk Hogan. Basher would have been like Stone Cold Steve Austin, which would have been pretty funny to see too. I also love wrestling. I think it was a really fun episode. Yeah, it is. It is. It's harmless. Like I like so many reviews I read, people saying, how could you end a show like this on this note? I'm like, dude, it fits right up there with the Three Little Pigs and the Bewitching Pool. It's right there for me, man. I don't know. I love Baxter Malone. It's a good ending. Sounds like a great episode. I agree it is. Do you like Monster Brawl? Monster Brawl, the idea of it's great, but it goes on way too long. It doesn't work as a movie. Like it doesn't, it almost is like you're watching a pay-per-view, right? So like you're watching a WWE pay-per-view. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't work as a feature for me. It's not terrible, but nothing great either. Now, this was the end of the original series, and you'd think normally we would end the show there, and we generally would. However, there wasn't an official episodes. There were 2 unofficial episodes, which I'm not going to review those. There's, of course, it's Akbar, Daughter, and I forget the other one, but there were 2 unaired episodes that were going to be for another show. And then at one point, somebody, I think it must have been Richard, probably reached out and said, well, we could air these, but it was too late, so they never aired. Those I don't really count as Darkside episodes. There is one that, to me, even though it's unofficial, is an official episode because it is so damn good. And I'm talking about this from, of course, 2021, this really cool animated episode, which was executive produced and directed by this guy that was named Jason Quadrado, I believe is his name. And I can't give a visual, unfortunately, because I don't think IMDb gives one. But it was called The Soot Man. The Soot Man is the unofficial episode that I'm talking about. You can watch it right here on YouTube. It's an animated episode of this, and he also did an animated episode of The Twilight Zone that was really quite good. The way he directs this and the animation style using the Unreal Engine, right, which was something that was used to like the Friday the 13th game. So it has that sort of look to it, the animated faces in it. It's an all animated computer generated episode of Tales from the Darkside with all the same musical cues, the opening, that great Donald Rubinstein score. Really good stuff. And it tells the story of this woman who is this robber. She's robbing all these people with her boyfriend. She kind of goes from town to town, owner to owner, right? These house owners that are elderly, she cleans their houses and then kind of pulls the blindfold over their eyes and robs them blind. She's doing this from town to town. She starts working for this lady and tells her, listen, everything needs to be immaculate. Everything needs to be spotless. The Soot Man will come and get to kill us if we don't keep everything clean, if you have this dust around and things like that. So at first the lady thinks she's absolutely nuts and crazy. And what happens is, there's eventually a blow off, right? This lady says, oh, you're crazy. There is no Soot Man. You sit here in your mansion and all your millions of dollars just rot away while I'm here cleaning for you and listening to you tell me what to do. And I'm sick of it. I've had it. And there's this whole exchange, and she ends up killing the woman, the millionaire woman. And she starts to look for where is it? Where's the money? Where's the money? So she's looking throughout the house. And of course, one of the rules for the Soot Man is don't start the fireplace, right? You can't start the fireplace. So there's no heat in the house. Everybody's cold. She goes up the fireplace and finds the money. And she's like, oh, I'm scot-free. So she dips town and stuff. And then, of course, the legend of the Soot Man is real. And the Soot Man comes to find her. Really good. I really liked The Soot Man. It's another like an A episode. I really like it. It's unofficial, right? It wasn't produced by these people, but I do know that Christine Forrest Romero, of course, the ex-wife of George, she was one that really praised this. She loved the episode. I did get a chance to meet her a few times. I asked her about this and she said, yes, that was so good. She's like, it was so in the vein of what George and all of them did in Laurel Productions and things like that. And I totally agree with her. Like, I totally think it captured the spirit of Tales from the Darkside. And it kind of bolsters a great question, right? Should or would it be interesting if we ever brought one of these shows back? How many times? Let's use Twilight Zone as an example, because it's such a low-hanging fruit. We've rebooted the Twilight Zone in the 80s. What? The early 2000s? What? The early 2020s? What? I'm sure the 2040s we'll get another Twilight Zone. It seems like it's every 20 years, right? 60s to 80s, 80s to 2000s, 2000s to 2020s. It's never been done right. It's never like the 80s one. Okay, there's some good 80s zones. There's some good early 2000s zones. I fucking hate the 2020 zones. Those are all bad. But would it be a cool idea if you ever brought this back, right? And I agree. I don't, like I said, you can't bring it back without Michael McDowell. You can't bring it back without like George. Like there's so many people that you can't bring this show back without. But if you were to do it, if they were to do it, I would much rather them take the approach of let's do it animated. Let's have it all be animated. An animated Tales from the Darkside. Let's order 10, 15 episodes, half hour long. And let's go from there. I would love to see something like that because, again, while this wasn't made by those original creators, it captured that spirit of what this show was. And I think that was the beauty of Tales from the Darkside, the Soot Man especially, that they were able to capture it oh so many years later. Really good stuff. I like the Soot Man. I'd highly recommend it. Oh, man, that's awesome. Soot Man, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, it's free on YouTube. You can watch it. I highly recommend it. It's really, really worth your time. Everything they do, down to the edits, down to the commercial breaks, down to the intro, the animation, the story, really good stuff. Like, I highly recommend it. It's something that I wish I was artistically gifted enough to do. Like, I would love to do a Tales from the Darkside animated episode. Only problem is I don't know shit. I don't know damn thing about animation. Landrum's in the house. Matt Landrum. Grande, hello to you in the graveyard. I'm ashamed to say I've yet to see one episode Tales from the Darkside. Dude, I know it's funny. Because I've streamed with Alpha quite a bit, and I've seen quite a bit of his streams, and it seems like all of the people in his community, they say the same thing. They're like, I've not watched Tales. I'm always like, how is that possible? I don't understand, but I'll tell you, man, the beauty of it is, it's at the same time, it's the beauty of it is the craziness of it is that you haven't seen it. That's the beauty of it. You could go see it. You have 90 episodes you could dive into. And I've just put them all in the tier maker for you. So if you want to avoid the ones that I thought were shitty, you could just kind of red flag those and put them to the side. So that's pretty cool thing about it, right? That you haven't seen these. It's Rocktober season. What better time? The DVD, you could get them for cheap. I highly recommend Mr. Landrum. I think you'd really like it. And of course, catch Matt Landrum later this month where we do a retrospective of Phantasm. I'm very excited to have Matt on the show. We're going to be talking all things Phantasm. Fever Dreamland Theater says, animated Tales from the Darkside. Yes, killer idea. Dude, I'm all for it. Like, like all these Twilight Zone reboots, they never fucking worked. I know they tried to reboot the show once and it never came to fruition. I know they tried the Creepshow series with Wilmer Valderrama. That never came to fruition. I know eventually they did with the Doodlesons and Nicotero, and that was good. I don't mind the Creepshow reboot. And in a lot of ways, that feels like this show. Like, you could have easily called that Tales from the Darkside, and it would probably work just as well. But I don't know. For me, I just think Darkside it would be better to try something new. I watched, I think, the first 2 episodes of the newest Twilight Zone renewal. I hated. I did too. I watched the one on the plane with Adam Scott, and I watched, and like, dude, they just fucking sucked. It was all, let's bash you over the heads with politics because that's all we could say now. It's not, let's tell compelling stories. Let's talk about emotion. Let's talk about the psychology of this horror genre that we all know and love. It wasn't about that anymore. It was just about making a statement. It was more statement as opposed to episode. And I don't like that. To me, it should be a happy marriage between the two in order to birth a better product. But that's not how that new Twilight Zone fucking sucked. I'm there with you, man. There's the one. Oh, Jesus Christ! Don't get me started. I'll fucking die. I'll like have an aneurysm. I'll get around to it eventually. It gives me something to look forward to. Exactly. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. At the same time, it's shocking that a lot of the people in this community, including him, I don't think Alpha's seen too many episodes of it. So it's like, holy shit, man! Like, wait till you see the ones that George wrote, the ones that John Harrison directed, the ones, like I said, Michael McDowell, Jules Selbo, Edithe Swenson, Stephen King, Clive Barker, so many great writers that I think it's boundless, man. Yes, very excited to dive into Phantasm with Brother Grande. Boy, I'm very excited too, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. A little off topic, but what do you think of the team? I liked it, to answer your question. I liked the Creepshow series for the most part. Now, again, they didn't have the most money in the world. Are there some better than others? Absolutely. Like, there's no doubt that, some of them lacked in quality and some of them lacked in storytelling. There's no doubt. But overall, I really liked it. Like, from what I've seen, I've not seen every episode. I've seen like the first 2 seasons for sure. Then here and there, like seasons 3 and 4, it's like a hit, miss that I've seen. I love the one with the kids on Halloween night. Funny enough, directed by John Harrison, where they're back from the dead. They were these kids that were in the treehouse, and they burned down the treehouse, and the fucking kids burned alive. And All Hallows Eve, the kids come back to claim one of the kids that killed them. Love that episode. I love the one. I think it's, oh my God, it's the guy from True Blood. It's Ryan Quanten from True Blood, and he's an astronaut, and his dad was this famous astronaut. And he's so envious of his dad, and he finds like new life in and he wants to take all the credit, so he murders his fellow space mate. And it's the whole, like, that one I thought was great. There's a lot of it. Was the one with the little girl in the dollhouse, and the dollhouse, it keeps getting closer to killing her, and we get the old chief Easter egg. The one with the guy in the suit, and he produces gold, and it's all about the corruption of greed and how it will take us over. Really, like, a lot of good ones. I liked the show for the most part. I think they more good than bad. But certainly not perfect at the same time. But listen, I'm telling you, man, if they said that was Tales from the Darkside, like they took the Creepshow name off and just called it Tales from the Darkside, I would be all for it too. Like, I think it works on either. I think a lot of people haven't seen Tales from the Darkside because it isn't streaming on YouTube or Tubi. You have to buy the physical media to see the episodes. That is a great point. Yeah, for sure. That's exactly why. And that's, it's funny. Anthony can attest to this. Anthony was with me, and so was Curly. We went to go see Curly, Anthony, and me just a couple years ago. We saw Dawn of the Dead in New York City. It was a packed ass crowd, really fun night. The theater was jumping, and the both of them, while I know they both had said coming in, I think they had seen it. They were like, "Oh, I think I've seen it." And Anthony turned to me and was like, "I don't think I have seen this." And like, that's the sad thing, that the lack of distribution between Dawn of the Dead, right, in the United States. The last release we got of Dawn of the Dead was the Blu-ray in 2008. That was the last Region 1 physical media release of Dawn of the Dead. It doesn't stream anywhere. It's not like that's the problem. And I think a lot of people were depraved of things like this because, again, it's Richard's money. Richard's not going to put this on Netflix. Well, granted, I don't think this would ever go on Netflix, but I totally think this could play on a Tubi, or on a Shudder, on a Amazon Prime, like totally. But he would never let it happen because it's just how he is, right? It's never happened with Martin. It's never happened with Dawn of the Dead. This is another thing, right? And his brother even did the opening musical score. It's just not how it's going to go, and it does deprive people of seeing the show. Now, I also think at the same time that it's interesting that someone, people from the Romero community, so many of them have not seen the show. Like, you would think if you're a diehard Romero, you're going out and buy the DVDs tomorrow. Like, if that was what I would think. But no, like, Alphazide's quite a few people on there, and they generally say the same thing. Like, I've never even watched it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, then when I hear that, I'm like, huh? Like, that's one of my favorite shows. M. Night Shyamalan tried to bring back Tales of the Crypt, and it failed. That could have been good. I mean, yeah, granted, M. Night Shyamalan, I don't know. We go shoot a little higher than that. What now? This is a question that I'm going to get in trouble for. I'm going to get in trouble for this because let me read Tom's answer to that question. No concept, no Crypt kills Darkside. Mateo's question is at gunpoint: Tales of the Darkside or Tales of the Crypt? I'm going to make this comparison. Tales from the Crypt is objectively the better show. They had more money. They had well-known mainstream actors. They had budgets to do these special effects. They had John Kassir, the great horror host, and the Crypt Keeper himself. Tales from the Crypt was an HBO. It was one of the shows that built HBO from the ground up. It's where a lot of actors, shined brightly, right? Whether they were A-listers before or A-list after, a lot of them shined brightly. Darkside was syndicated, played on local stations, played really, really late night on TV, right? Didn't get the primetime slots that the 1980s Twilight Zone show was getting. Didn't get the primetime slots that Amazing Stories was getting. It didn't get that shine. It didn't. It garnered a cult following over people that would stay up late and wanted to watch some fucking dark shit. And that's what happened here. It's lower budget. You're going to see a lot more Laurie Cardell than you're going to see Brad Pitt, right? You're going to see more John Harrison. You're going to see more of these like stage actors that were, again, either local to Pittsburgh or local to New York or local to Cali, right? Because it was bi-coastally shot. You're seeing a lot more small talent. Now, they had a couple. Danny Aiello's in an episode. Tom Noonan's in an episode. You'll have some actors that you'll know, but not to the extent of Crypt. Crypt, I think, while it's objectively better, I think Darkside is my answer because there's something much more I like about it. I guess more my cup of tea. I like the stories here. I like the presentation. I like the gritty, raw, midnight feel of this show, whereas Crypt is very much more polished and very well-oiled machine. It's very much more well-crafted, whereas Darkside feels like it's really for the fucking trolls. I don't know what it is, but I always like Darkside better. Darkside has a better charm for me. So yeah, I know that's crazy. I know I'm probably one of very few people that feel that way. Again, I can honestly say that there's no way I could objectively argue that. But as far as which one has the more charm, I can name you more Darkside episodes that I absolutely love than Crypt. Like, I think I would say there's more Darkside than Crypt S's. Granted, I don't know if that for a fact. So, and you can fact check me on all my Tales from the Crypt retrospectives, but Darkside's better. I like Darkside. I'm a Darkside guy. Fuck it. No contest on show always. Thank you so much. I don't have a dog in this fight because I haven't seen Tales from the Crypt, but I love Tales from the Darkside, but I love Tales from the Crypt. Great childhood memories, staying up late watching those episodes. No, they're both great shows, and Tom's unsubscribed. Tom, it was a great run. Now, I totally listen. Hey, I think 90+% of people, and I don't think I'm over exaggerating, would say Tales from the Crypt. I really do. If you've seen both, you're going to say Tales from the Crypt. I would say 9 out of 10 people, if not more. There's something about Darkside that I just love better. I can't explain it. It's not quality. It's not money. It's not budget. It's not effects. I guess maybe some of them, I like the stories. I think the psychology, right? Something like Mary Mary. Like Tales from the Crypt could never do an episode like Mary Mary. That's something that's niche to Darkside. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I've been at this too long. It's been almost 2.5 hours. I don't want to waste any more of your time. But this was a lot of fun. And this is a very fun, full circle moment for me because this is something I started in 2021. Every October, I review these seasons, and now I'm not doing it anymore. Tales from the Darkside's run out. I will one day down the road do a top 10 Tales from the Darkside episode. That will happen because we did that with The Zone. I'll have to do it with Darkside. I will say this: the next one we're going to add, right? Because we're doing Black Mirror, about halfway through Black Mirror. I'm going to throw Monsters into the mix. So Monsters is going to be the next ones that I do, sporadically. So we're going to do Black Mirror, and we're going to start Monsters. I want to start Monsters in like December-ish. That's somewhere where I want to start Monsters. I agree with you, Grande. Crypt is objectively better overall, but there's just something about Darkside. It's Lake to Romero and Friends that just love it more. Fuck yeah, Robert! Robert is one of the 10%ers. Robert is with me in the circle of the Darkside, dude. Man, you know what? I'm cool with this. I am so cool with this. Now, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm happy I'm not alone, Robert. So thank you for being in my club of 10%ers of Darkside lovers. But yeah, I love Monsters. Looking forward to that one. Thank you so much. That's going to be a lot of fun. Again, tomorrow I'll be on the Alpha Romero channel talking all things Night of the Living Dead 1990 uncut 4K Steelbook release. We'll also be reviewing and ranking some George Romero VHS covers. I'm very excited for that. Always love working with Alpha Romero. So check that out tomorrow. I'll also post a link tomorrow during the day that if you guys want to join, we go live at 10 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. So everybody, thank you so much. This was a very, very fun time. The dark side is always waiting to enter us. And until next time, try to enjoy the daylight. Everyone, thank you so much for being so cool. And we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet, peace. And stay tuned next week for the Mateo episode where me and him are going to go through all things horror brackets. I'm very excited. Everybody, too sweet, peace. And we'll catch you next time. Good night, everybody.